And we are live. What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it again with another New York Giants Just Chillin podcast episode. This week, as you can tell, we have a very special guest in Eli Racks, aka Vibes from Twitter, also of GiantsRush.com. He is on there as well. Guys, make sure you go over there, check him out. I have both links in the description down below. Shout out to Edward Chan, Jaden the Champ, Super Taj World, Ash Money, Sports Records and Topics, Nate Talks Football. The fact that we got this man on here, y'all already know what it's about to be. It's about to be.
This is a certified hood classic.
You guys know the vibes. Anyway, what up, Eli? How you doing, man? First and foremost, tell the people who you are, where they can find you and all that. And yeah, what's up, man?
What's going on, y'all, man? It's your guy, Eli Racks, a.k.a. Vibes. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, at I am Eli Racks. You can also Google me, Eli Racks. I'll pop up right there. You'll see the logo. You see my picture. Come on and follow me, man. We talk nothing but Giants football. And also from the NYGiantRush.com, one of the guys there that does the podcast, live interviews. Check out our Brandon London. His interview as well this past week. It's pretty dope, man. So find me on there.
Exactly, man. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. I see Zach in here. Bark Nasty. Guys, if you're here, hit the like button, share it out, get everybody in here. We just gonna get right into it, I guess. But you know what? Actually, I got one question for you. Since this is the first time we sat down one-on-one, kind of, right? Like, how'd you get into the Twitter space, Giants Twitter space? Because I think that might be where your biggest following is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or maybe it's Instagram, right? So, like, how'd you get into the Giants Twitter space, and then how did NY Giants Rush came about?
So really quickly, man, I created a Twitter page just to vent my frustration about the New York Giants. I went from 0 followers to now 37.6 thousand followers. So I just vented about the Giants, kept it going, and I was honest. I was brutal. Also a little bit optimistic about the team, and it just pretty much grew from there. It's been on social media for about 3 years now, so it pretty much grew from there. Next minute, I had a following, and then I was sitting there and I was like, what am I going to do with this particular following? I'll just keep sounding off and typing some stuff. And my guys at NYGiantsRush.com hit me up and said, hey, man, you want to do a show? We're going to do something on the draft. And next minute, it blossomed from there. Now I'm about 5 episodes in with them. They've been doing it for about a year and change now. I'm writing some articles for them as well. Got my own segment called Rack 'em, NYGiantsRush.com. You can see a couple articles that I did there. A couple pieces and a bunch of live shows, man, with some of your favorite Giant players as well. So take a look at it, man, and I'm happy to be part of it, and hopefully I get to spread that knowledge and that wealth and that information to you guys here as well. And thank you for the platform, my brother.
Hey, no problem. And once again, I do appreciate you coming on. You mentioned Brandon London. Of course, I think most people who follow the Giants closely know who Brandon London is. He's almost always on the YouTube channel or as one of the main media guys for the Giants. Anybody else that you guys have got in the past on Giants Rush or plan to get in the future?
Oh, absolutely, man. We had Carl Banks on there, Chase Blackburn. We had Kevin Booth. We had a bunch of plethora, Paulie Dodge, Paul Dottino. We interviewed as well. We have a couple more in the tuck in the future. We're going to keep that on the wraps until the time comes.
Wait, did you say tuck in the future?
Oh, listen, you never know. You got to watch
just using tuck
tuned.
As a phrase. Hold on.
It could be a little bit of both. Could be a little bit of both, but you have to stay tuned in order to see what we got cooking up. But we got definitely a few more people lined up, but we interviewed a bunch of people in the past, number Super Bowl champion. Shout out to Lawrence Tynes as well. Interviewed Lawrence Tynes. You might see him back on there again. And, we got a lot of people, man, and, ready to go. And, stay tuned, man. We got plenty more that's going to follow that platform as well. So please stay tuned.
For sure, guys. Make sure you go over there, check them out. I have all of that in the description down below. So, I mean, I guess we could just hop right into it. As the line says right below where our faces are showing, Giants and Browns joint practice. First of all, can I just vent a little bit? I'm sure maybe you have the same thing to vent. The Browns beat reporters and the Browns people they had on the live streams both days on the row are like some of the most biased reporters I've ever heard and read of in my life, man. Am I right or wrong?
I will have to agree with that. Some Giants fans will tell me that I'm crazy, that I'm reading into something a little bit too much, but I think there's a little bit of bias in there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they, especially on today's stream, I didn't catch it live, but I caught the replay. You just go on the Browns YouTube channel, you click it, it's still there, it's up. And they made the first day of practice, the way we were talking about it, as the second day was just beginning, they made it seem as if the Browns ran the Giants off the field. They made it seem as if, like, the Giants were a practice squad type team. Like, the way they were talking about it, they're like, it was a clear Browns dominance yesterday. I'm just like, you're not serious right now.
Yeah, no, I said that, I saw the same thing, and I was like, guys, it was a real back and forth. Even Baker Mayfield had a couple bad plays as well, but the way they did it, like Daniel Jones is out there throwing picks, the offensive line was porous. It was just nuts, man. You know what I mean? So for them to do that, I understand it's their team, and they have to do certain things like that. But man, keep it honest for the people that want to actually look at that particular report and learn from it. But that's the only thing I hate. That's why we create our own media for our Giants representation, our family.
Exactly, and it's not like we're not going to call out when something bad is going on with our team. Like, we've been calling out the offensive line for 10 years now, so I don't know why people have some type of I feel like it's a false narrative to say that Giants fans are particularly biased. Yes, there's a few homers, but for the most part, I mean, let's be honest. Before this year, our fan base hated our team more than like the other fan bases did, it seemed like at points.
I agree. Listen, even I was on that bandwagon. I didn't like the team at 1.2, but I remain optimistic about the team. But this is the most I'm optimistic about them. This is the most I'm very positive on it. I can see the roster. But in the past, trust me, I was just like the regular Giants fan. Like, what the heck are they doing? The Golden Tate, what the heck he's going to do? He's down the hill. So again, I tell people, let's give it a little bit of time, man. But this year, I think is the year, man. We got to figure this out. But we'll go into more details, of course, what's going on. Of course.
Yeah, so let's talk about the first day of practice as well. I might miss some things as I'm giving the chat here a quick rundown. I'm pretty sure. Now, listen, I was just ragging on the Browns reporters for them saying it was a dominant Browns performance. It was back and forth, but I do think in the end the Browns get the win for the first day, that is. We didn't really get much one-on-one coverage, which I was hoping for more of. The only one-on-one thing I remember seeing was the Will Hernandez just absolutely showing us that he's really good blocking offensive linemen out there. I forgot which Browns player that was, but he could not get past him for anything at all. And Will's been looking good in training camp and in the one preseason game we saw. So, hey, man, I hope Will gets back his rookie stride, man.
Will Hernandez, man. I mean, we complained about Will Hernandez. We wasn't sure if he was the guy. They did move him over to right guard at this particular time, and he's looking great, man. He looked like a guy that's on a mission.
He also is a way leaner than he was before.
Yes. He looks a little more stout, though. Even though he lost a little bit of that body fat, he looks a little more stout. He looks a little bit more muscular in that particular way. He looks awesome, if you ask me. You know what I mean? So in that particular case, man, I give my hats off to definitely to Will Hernandez. He's looking great this season, man. And I'm excited to see what he can do.
And you could tell how him being leaner actually helps his movement. Like, he's moving a lot faster. He's way more agile. It makes you wonder. It's like, all right, man, was this all he needed? But of course, we know there's been multiple coaching staff changes, especially at the offensive line position.
But listen, if you see Will Hernandez, that base in that line or how he slides over, looking like, kind of like that slide protection, that's Pat Flaherty, man. If you go back to the old Giant days and you see how them offensive linemen actually moved, that's Pat Flaherty's coaching there. That's his little guidance in there. So I think coaching is a huge difference in that. You can see that. I was going
to say, it just gives me more confidence in Rob Sale, the new offensive line coach, and the fact that Pat Flaherty seems to be working out as bringing back as like is it a consultant role he's brought back as, or is it an assistant coach?
It's a consultant role.
Okay.
It's a consultant role, but you can see how he's putting these little nicks and little pieces into this offensive line. Just that sliding motion alone, that's fluidity. You know what I mean? That fluence. Like, he's just real fluent with his feet movement and etc. So it just looks good. It just looks like the pass offensive lineman, and his hand placements a little bit got better too. If you actually take a look at that. So I give all credit to that coaching staff, man. I think they're trying to do the best they can with the talent that they have on this roster on that line.
And what up, Malik, the Stanford fan in here, and Michael B. How you two doing? Thank you for tuning in. So other than Will, Baker Mayfield, I think he had a good day both days, but our defense should get a little bit more credit for how they performed on the first day, in my opinion. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. I mean, we'll get into day two, of course, guys, but that day one, I think the defense was pretty well. For the first time in practice, I think I don't take too much with the first day. I kind of just see, okay, the one-on-one drills is really what I look at. A couple of 11-on-11s, more the red zone type of plays, but more credit to our defense. The defense looked pretty good. But of course, we're going to talk about. I'm ready to get in this day two, but I'll wait.
I got one more thing from day one, man. From day one,
let's do it.
From day one specifically. So leave out your day two thoughts, right? Day one specifically, how'd you feel about DJ in the offense?
Struggling, as they say. I think DJ threw like a couple picks, but it wasn't too crazy. But I think they're just trying to find the timing. It is practice, so they're trying to find the timing. They're trying to find the protection as far as that's concerned. But I think somewhat it still needs improvement, in my opinion. But for the most part, Danny was hitting on some cylinders. This has to be a little more consistency as far as the wideouts and offensive line.
And then this is one thing, just getting back to the media real quick, that they 100% tried to blow up, try to make it look a lot worse than it was. And a part of me is glad that they did that, because I know for a fact every Giants player saw that. And with the fire they came out with today, the intensity they came out from the beginning of practice, and they had a way better day in practice, admittedly. Once again, that's not to say they had a terrible first day like they want you to think, but they came out and they put the Browns to the test, like, basically from jump.
I agree. I totally agree with that. So we'll see. We'll go from there. We'll see.
So, yeah, man. I mean, yo, you know what? I'm going to let you pick, man. You want to start with the offense? You want to start with the defense? The defensive line. Let's start with Trent Harris, actually. Trent Harris, a guy that showed up in the Jets game. He's like our 5th or 6th outside linebacker, or edge rusher, I should say. Showed up in the Jets game, was getting pressure, was backfield. I can't remember if he got a sack or not. He probably did, because I only think we only got 1 sack in the Jets game. Came out today and had 3 or 4 sacks or something crazy like that. Was always in the backfield.
Always in the backfield,
Harris, man.
Yeah, always in the backfield. The guy's ready to go. And again, you don't think he's high on that depth chart, but boy, he's having a good training camp and he's having a good preseason so far. So he's definitely turning some eyes towards him. So I'm excited to see what he'll definitely do in the future. I'm not too excited on anything yet. I want to see about game 3 of that preseason to see if he can keep that consistency rolling. But I'm excited. I'm excited what I'm seeing here from this defense, and credit to Patrick Graham for sure.
Azeez Ojulari and Lorenzo Carter now.
Man, let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Listen,
oh, my
bro,
God.
I'm a big Azeez. Hey, you already know this, right?
I know.
I am a huge Azeez fan, bro.
Yes.
What I heard today,
I'm happy.
I loved a lot, man. I loved Jedrick Wills, all right?
Yes.
Somebody that I think we could all say is one of the better tackles in the league, at least in the top half, 100%. First of all, let's talk about, just to backtrack a little bit, Mekhi Becton, all right? Everybody ragged, or not necessarily ragged, was disappointed in Azeez's performance against Mekhi Becton. Let's keep it real. There's probably 1 or 2 dudes in the league at the edge rushing position that I could actually manhandle and take care of Mekhi Becton just because of his size. It's like Myles Garrett and then Khalil Mack, and that's probably it. Because they're the only dudes I think that got the straight-up power to manhandle him. And it's not as if Azeez was a complete failure. The man got around him a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? He used his speed. Jedrick Wills was a much better matchup, and it seemed to me like Azeez dominated that matchup.
Yes, he definitely did. And so that, listen, let's talk about Azeez. Azeez Ojulari, great guy, great player, but you can see him coming along. You can see him starting to, develop into the player that he should, that they expected him to be. And I was just happy, man. I'm like a dad, man. Like, oh, shoot, this guy's actually coming along. He might be that edge rusher we're looking for, whatever the case is. I'm just excited to read that he's doing so well. Now let's see it in live action. That'll be the next step for him, to see it in live action, to see if he can keep that same consistency from practice to camp into live action. And that I can't wait for, and I think it's going to be.
Is there any word on if the Browns are playing their starting line? Because we know they're not going to play a couple guys on their starting defense, but are they playing their starting offensive line?
To be honest, I haven't read that. I'm not sure. I don't want to sit here and say, yes, it's going to happen. I'm not sure. If it is, let's do it, man. Let's. I don't care who's there. I just want to know that he can dominate and get to that backfield with no problem. So if it's the first or the second, let's see if he can get to that backfield and see if he can make some plays back there, some sacks for us. That's it. He should be able to do it, especially for the second string if he's actually dominating the first. So let's see if he can actually do that, So I'm excited to see either way.
And before we move from Azeez to Lorenzo, what do you think he could give us in his rookie year? You don't got to give anything lofty, you know what I'm saying? What do you think he could give us in his first year?
Let's do sacks. Let's do sacks because everybody likes sacks. I'll be okay with 6 sacks during the season. I think that's a great year for him.
I mean, Chase Young had 7 in his rookie, so I would agree that's a great year.
I think that'll be a good year for him if he gets 6. I think that's I won't say that's expected of him, but I think that'll be the goal. That'll be his ceiling for this particular season if he gives us about 6 sacks. The tackles are going to come. Maybe, I don't know, about 50. I don't know. You know what I mean? See. But I'm just guessing here. We'll see, But I'm more of okay, let me get 6 sacks out of there because that's what I think he's going to be for, is really just the sack guy that's going to come off that edge for you.
Pressures, QB hits, everything like
that. That's it.
And then Lorenzo, another guy that I'm a big fan of because last offseason, I should say, I saw a lot of potential in Lorenzo. I put out a video that said 2020 is Lorenzo Carter's year. And for like the first 3 weeks, where did he go down? He went down in the Dallas game or something like that?
I think it was a Dallas game. I'm not sure. To be honest, my
so like
memory's
the
shot in
first
some
6
cases.
weeks, it looks like he was going to put together that year that he was finally meant to have. Because people forget, even though we got Lorenzo in the 3rd round, in the 2018 draft, he was actually like a late 1st round, early 2nd round prospect. He did slip. Kind of funnily enough, just like how Xavier McKinney slipped to us, and then this year Aziz slipped to us. So it's like it almost looked like he was finally putting together what people thought he was going to be back in 2018. Goes out with the Achilles, comes back, and in my opinion, if he picks up where he left off last year, that's another good, I'm not going to say great, but that's another good, maybe really good edge rusher to have on this team. What are you thinking?
No, I totally agree. Don't forget, he can just rotate in there. That's fresh legs, fresh feet. So I think it's definitely at Zimenez as well, right? So, I think those guys will be able to rotate and rush that passer at any particular moment. And I'm excited to see because he had a damn good day today. You know what I mean? As far as day 2 practice, as far as Zoe. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Again, can it translate on to live action? And I think he'll be able to. You know what I mean? But both of those guys seem like there's something special. There's something special coming out of both those guys.
Wouldn't you say they are who you think would be our 2 starting guys at the edge?
I would definitely be, for sure. For sure. I mean, again, do we really have a huge choice per se? But I think those are the 2 guys for sure that could be that tandem to coming back and forth to fill that. I think I'm very confident in those particular 2 guys coming off that edge, to be honest with you. Very confident.
And just let me know about Lorenzo's day today. I know he was involved a little bit. Was there anything in particular? Was there any highlight? I can't remember if there was anything like that.
Now, for what they were saying, it's about 3 sacks. Correct me if I'm wrong.
From Lorenzo?
From Zoe, I think it was, or it could be Aziz. Forgive me. Yeah, I think they say he got in the back there a lot. He had a damn good day as far as 3.
That's a lot.
So they said that line is particular. It was coming in and just pouring in on Baker in many cases. So that's the little article that I read today from Zach, I believe. So forgive me, Zach, if I'm botching up the numbers, but that's exactly. I believe it was 3 sacks. There is what he counted by himself. What he counted in that article.
Bro, if that's what it was, Jesus Christ, that's a lot. Like, let us not play down. I know we all say, including myself, it's practice, and I agree with you. They need to do it in full speed in an actual game. But it is the Browns' offensive lineman. This is one of the best O-lines in the league, and I'm very happy that at least in practice we're putting them on their toes like that, man.
I totally agree. And listen, we got a lot to look. I mean, we knew our defense was going to be at least top 5, we hope, right? So just by looking at the paper, we're like, man, this defense could be a top 5 defense in this NFL. And it's showing so far. The more they get out there, the more they practice. Just imagine if the season started, I think they'll be okay for week 1, to be honest with you. I think they'll be firing on all cylinders, man. And I'm excited to see it. I want a defense smash mouth. I love the fights, the grit. I like it all. So bring it all, and let's see what we can happen and see what got him during the season.
J-Fed and Cletus in here. J-Fed says Garrett stinks. His offense is stale and outdated, in my opinion. I mean, last year, you're not wrong based off of last year. I'm going to have to see
Let me ask you this. And I don't know if you want off the defense, but let me ask you this real quick about the offense because the gentleman said it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this offense, and how do you feel about Jason Garrett, in your opinion?
I can't talk on Jason Garrett, bro, but I can talk on because honestly, like, I don't know what in the world he's gonna give us when the season comes. But I can't talk on the offense from what we've seen, right? I think the offense is slowly improving. I really do, because just like in the Jets preseason game, they started off slow and they got better with more and more snaps. It seemed like it was the same thing with the day 1 and day 2. Day 1, they started off slow. Day 1 was definitely their worst day. Day 2, I was seeing a lot more, tweets from beat reporters about DJ being good in the end zone, about him connecting with his receivers, about the receivers making plays, actually getting some good. Well, there's only, I don't know if yard after the catch is actually something good, I should say, because they're not actually allowed to tackle. But, they were getting some good runs after the catch.
Now, Darius Slayton supposedly had a catch that could have been going for the distance if it was a real game. So I understand they had a lot of yak plays out there for sure.
Exactly. So I'm like, I like that from what it seems they are actually improving. But the fact remains right now, we still haven't seen Saquon on the field. We still have yet to see Kenny Golladay technically on the field. And those are, I know Kyle Rudolph is in there as well and Kadarius Toney, but I'm really more focused on Saquon and Kenny. And I want them to get in there to see how they do. Now, I'm not saying it's going to get worse. Of course, it should logically get better, but I think it's going to look different. I don't know how, but I think it's going to look different, and I want to see if that's a good different.
I agree. I think with all the starters, we can actually see maybe a little bit maybe hopefully a little bit more different plays. Right now, everything is so vanilla because it's the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you, looking at that preseason game, just to backtrack a little bit, looked like he was just playing the flip the plays on Madden. Like literally 3 people were bunched up, then it run to the other side on the right side of the field. So I'm just like, man, what is he doing? There's a few plays that actually had that in there. It was just so vanilla. It wasn't popping for me. And Glennon didn't really look too comfortable in it.
Bro,
and then they had the
bring
other
back
guy.
Colt McCoy, bro.
Oh my God!
Horns,
You know
bro.
what? And I was really rooting for Glennon when they didn't sign Colt McCoy. I was like, yo, this is an upgrade. But really, when you look at that game, I'm gonna give him more time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna bash him and kill him now. But looking at that game, we started tweeting QB2. Maybe we need, because again, we're not sure if DJ is gonna be healthy for all season. I mean, he hasn't proven that yet.
No, that's a valid concern. He's literally been out 4 games in each of his first 2 seasons.
Exactly. So we need a QB2, and is Glennon gonna be the guy? This will be the week for sure to tell us, man, he might be a legit backup, or he just might need to be, back up out of here, get up out of here. You know what I mean? Because he did not look comfortable in that offense at all. I didn't like it. You know what I mean? But I'm really concerned on what I'm seeing right now. And again, I know it's vanilla, but there's not enough consistent plays out there, and it looks like I'm playing Madden. Like anybody could come up and draw up these plays, it looks like. But I'm really concerned about Jason Garrett. But I would love to see, when all the weapons are in there, what it's going to look like. And I hope it's good, the fact that Freddie Kitchens is assisting. But, man, I don't know, man. I can't really, talk too much about this offense. I'm not comfortable as of yet. Not yet.
I mean, I don't blame you. And real quick, shout out to Harrison Jolly, Football Talk with Benny, and Harrison Aaron here. We got the 2 Harrisons in here. Cletus says, what up, Hub and Eli? I could only stay on for a little bit. Got to work early in the morning. I'll just watch the rest tomorrow. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate that.
Get your rest, bro, for sure. Work priorities. Continuing on the offense, though, with Garrett. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying when J-Fed said it's stale and outdated. I'm like, yeah, if you're basing it off of last year, 100%. This year, we're gonna have to see what it is, and that's me being optimistic. I'm gonna keep it real with you. That's me being optimistic.
We're gonna have to wait till week 1. We're gonna have to wait till week 1,
bro. Because if we enter, the amount of times myself, Pest, Diggy, Kid Blue, like we're calling a game or we're just talking about the game on a stream, and the amount of times we say exactly what you said, bro. I could be on Madden and call better plays because the amount of curl routes, the amount of stick routes he's running.
Yes.
There's no creativity. How many slant routes, bro? One of the most simplest. How many slants did you see last year? I could probably count them on my hand. You know what I'm saying? How many double moves? Even a post. A mesh concept, bro. All. We had like 0 mesh concepts last year. We were having trouble getting separation. That's like basic. You throw a mesh in there, it helps you get separation. Like, come on now.
Yes, no, I agree with that. Listen, I wasn't happy with that offense, but I chucked it up to, okay, COVID. They wasn't in there actually participating, as far as physical practices like that. They were doing Zoom calls because somebody else had COVID one week, the next week. Even Jason Garrett had COVID at one point. So I get it. You know what I mean? But this is the year we got to see something as fans.
And it's not just Freddie Kitchens you mentioned. And this is where it gets worrying, right? Because Garrett has a lot more help offensively when you talk about weapons, but also in the coaching room. And the one thing I would hate for happen is too much chefs in the kitchen because he has Freddie Kitchen helping him out. We brought in Russ Callaway from LSU, who was part of that legendary LSU offense, helping him out.
Yes.
And I think there's at least Rob Sale, who was the offensive coordinator, currently our offensive line coach. He was the offensive coordinator at Louisiana Lafayette, also has a hand in it. So I'm just like, it's a lot of help. But at some point, I'm legitimately wondering, like, okay, there is a thing known as too many people for one paper.
No, I totally agree. But think of it this way. I'm thinking, okay, Jason Garrett might be on the hot seat. I'm thinking that one of these 3 guys that's helping him out.
We have legit replacements.
We have replacements. So even if he goes for a head coaching job, or he actually gets the can, we have somebody that'll come in there very smoothly to actually take over that offense, and I think it'll be better. But I'm hoping Garrett, man, can be that guy. Go get a head coaching job. Go do what you got to do. But this offense better be explosive,
man. I think we were all disappointed during the offseason when he was
he
was rumored to go to the Chargers, and then the Chargers hired somebody else. I was like, you serious, bro?
Yo, I was like, yo, go. I was like, get up out of here, man. We don't need that.
And then the Chargers, they just didn't hire him. I'm like, come on, bro. He's a good coach. Yo, I can vouch for him. Listen, man, Jason Garrett's one of the best offensive court. You saw what he did with Terrell Owens in 2008, bro. Come on now, man.
Facts.
He made DeMarco Murray a leading rusher. You tell me this man's not Yo, I was pulling out all the stops, bro, but the Chargers wouldn't listen.
I think the tweet was, everybody was like, hire Jason Garrett. He's the great. Like, I think we was all just saying, he's great, man.
Exactly.
He saved the kitten from a tree. Like, everybody had all these tweets to try to get him up out of here, and it just didn't work, of course. But listen, if he wants a job, in all honesty, all joking aside, I think they're waiting to see if he could take this bottom tier offense, supposedly on paper we're looking good, but this bottom tier that the league is saying, and if he raises him up to at least top 15, I think he has a job. You know what I mean? And top 15 is probably asking a lot for him.
I was gonna say it might be, yeah.
But I think it's realistically just give me top 20. Realistically, give me top 20. Give me 24 points, something a game.
Exactly, because if we could be
and let the
a
defense
top 5
work.
defense and at least a top 20 offense, I think that's a good.
We're winning games.
Yeah,
I think we can hit a playoff.
Winning games, exactly.
I totally agree. You know what I mean? So I think he needs to find that perfect balance. Again, I don't need you to be out there throwing it, being the number one. I don't need you to be the Chiefs. I just need you to be in the top 20, consistent runs, at least 5 yards per carry. Give me DJ, 200 yards a game, 3 touchdowns or something. That's asking a lot too. You know what I mean? But we need to, and turnovers has to be down. But he has to figure out. Just give me top 20. That's it, man. He has to figure this out because I think the defense is gonna pull us over the edge as far as getting us these wins and keeping us in close games, in my opinion.
I 100% agree with you. And I'll say I'm about to throw 2 conspiracy theories at you. I'm not sure if I was the first ever person to think about them, but I kind of came up with them on my own. I'm sure other people have come up with the same. So conspiracy theory number 1, let me know if you agree with it. Joe Judge was a gift from Bill Belichick to the Giants to say, hey, man, you guys are my organization. You know what I'm saying? I was the defensive coordinator there. You guys gave me my start. I'm going to give you your head coach. Here's Joe Judge. I've been grooming this guy more than I groomed Matt Patricia. Flores is my guy. You know what I'm saying? Brian's that dude, but this is Judge. Do you agree with that?
I agree. Okay. You know, the funny thing you said that, I was talking to my guys at nyrush.com, man, especially Craig. I'm like, listen, Bill Belichick, let me say this first. Bill Belichick loves the Giants. He loves this organization. And he's willing, he still does interviews for the Giants when they talk about the Super Bowl. He still does from his own time. So I know this was a gift to the Giants. I know Mara was like, hey, listen, man, who you got over there, that's the next guy that can be you. And I really think Belichick said, here's Joe Judge. I think so, too. I agree with that. I really do think so.
And I mentioned Brian Flores because out of the entire Belichick tree that's legitimately been kind of a failed tree except for these two, Flores and Judge, those are the only 2 that I think Belichick have legitimately groomed because Belichick was just the linebacker. I mean, not Belichick. Flores was just the linebackers coach, and then Belichick gave him the humongous responsibility of being the defensive coordinator that 1 year, and he pulled through. I think that was 2018, the year they went and they held the Rams to 3 points. Flores pulled through. Judge did not Judge. Now I'm mixing up the names. Belichick did the thing where it's like you give a positions coach a big responsibility so that they could have some experience when they go to a higher level. And he did the same thing with Judge. Judge was already a coordinator, but he gave them the additional responsibility of being the wide receivers coach right before he hit the market for the head coaching job. So I legitimately think that's part of the reason these 2 guys are seeing success, at least for right now, because Belichick really did kind of set them up for success, in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, anyone that you see a position coach taking on another additional task, you know they're ready to be head coach eventually. You know what I mean? So I think he really did set him up for success, even though everybody was like, the wide receivers wasn't that great when Joe Judge was there. Yeah, okay, we could say all that. But I think looking at it outside, when you start to look at Joe Judge and him in his first year on the Giants, he kept us in a lot of games. He's a great coach. He paid attention to details, fundamentally sound as far as teaching and developing that particular team. We haven't seen this in years since the Tom Coughlin era, right? Let's be honest. So I think he's a damn good coach. Forget his past experience as far as the wide receiver, but this guy's ready to go. He's going to be a success in the NFL, in my opinion, Joe Judge. Just give it time. Well, he's going to be there, man. Because I know you're ahead of the game when you're because a lot of people's going to combat, a lot of people are going to combat what you're saying. He hasn't had enough time. No, trust me, that little sample size he gave us as far as last season, this guy's going to be good. I'm telling you, man. I have to ride that wave with you.
Exactly. And then conspiracy theory number 2, even though the Giants did hire Judge, last year they hired Jason Garrett as a fallback plan in case Judge failed. So I think last year Jason Garrett was meant to be the replacement if Judge failed, and that's why they allowed Garrett to choose the offensive line coach to have some control early on. But I think now, obviously, I think the Giants are comfortable with letting him go. But what do you think? Let me say
this. As far as Jason Garrett, I don't think it was a fallback plan.
John Mara. It was John Mara's fallback plan.
I think it was more of a helping him because it was a first-year head coach, and he had so many years of experience. Jason Garrett was like, okay, groom him. And I think Joe Judge did that favor of bringing in his offensive line coach. Forgive me, what's his name again? Colombo. You know what I mean? But you see how quick Joe Judge became, because I didn't think anybody understood that he was going to catch on this quick, and he was going to demand that attention and demand this team. Where he was like, Colombo, get the hell out of here. We don't need you here. You're not teaching these guys right. And I think he's quick to do that with Jason Garrett as well if everything goes wrong. So I think he was just, all right, just to build up sort of a routine with the team, just to guide him through as far as being the head coach. I think Jason Garrett was really mainly there for that, but not taking over the team if it failed. Jason Garrett might be gone after this year. Who knows?
And I'll say this. It seems like this is very loose, but I think the coaching staff is kind of closer together this year than they were last year. I think that's logical. But the reason I say that is because last year in interviews, whenever Judge talked about Garrett, he'd say Coach Garrett. This year in interviews, he almost always say Jason. It's a small thing, but I'm just like, I noticed it. I'm like, all right, I guess you guys are closer now than you were last year.
Now, listen, I'll tell you this. A lot of players are calling these head coaches by their first name. Usually it's like Coach Judge or Coach Coughlin, people used to say. But this particular team, he has them, hey, man, Joe, Jason. If you ever listen to this press conference, they call these coaches by their first name. So it might be something. Yeah, Pat. Exactly.
My favorite one is our special teams coordinator. He just says T-Mac. Like they got that's T-Mac, bro.
That's T-Mac. You know what I mean? So I think it's just something that that he said, all right, listen, this is what we're gonna do to get you guys comfortable with the coaching staff. This is just what we do here, the system. So I think it's just part of the system that they're calling each other by their first name, but not coach. He's trying to make it a little bit of a, I guess,
what a cruel coach Joe Judge is, man. He's making these coaches be called by their first name.
You're right.
Nicknames.
You see Jason Garrett, man. He told the media I'm gonna be called coach.
Yo, that call, I'll admit, bro, I was wrong on that. I even made a tweet where I was like, yo, I was wrong on this, bro. The media just tried to make Jason look bad, yo. You know the whole story, right? I'm like,
tell me for the viewers.
For the viewers, right? So basically, first the media tried to make it look like Jason Garrett told them, you have to call me Coach Garrett. And at the end of the interview, he was when they called him Jason, but that wasn't it. It was the end of the interview. Jason said it was good seeing you guys. They didn't respond. He responded a bit more forcefully. He was good seeing you guys, because they just, I don't know. I feel like Jason gets too much disrespect sometimes.
He does.
Sometimes it's warranted, but sometimes it's not, right? Just tell the man, hey, it was good to see you too. And they responded with good to see you, Jason. He said as a joke, it's good to see you, Coach Garrett. That's what we say around here. Like, he was even smiling and chuckling as he said it. But almost every single beat reporter was out to get this man. They, like, painted him as a villain or something. Yeah, no, I agree with that. You know what I mean? But no matter how much you can try to say someone can crap on, Jason Garrett, his win-loss record is success. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? So he has success of being a head coach, and we have to respect that. I guess us as Giants fans, speaking from the fans' point of view, it's just we want to see something. We've been deprived for so long, so we want to see something explosive, especially our offense, or whatever the case is. But Jason Garrett, man, he's been a successful head coach. Whether you like it or not, no playoffs, no Super Bowl, whatever, he's a success. And you got to respect that, man. So hats off to him. And the media should respect him as such, even though it was a joke, Yeah.
But definitely respect him as that.
Exactly. Getting back, we're gonna get back to the offense eventually, but we
yes, I'm sorry, we offered a tangent.
Yeah, nah, I like it. I like when we go off on tangents, actually. So we did outside, shifting inside to the D line. Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence. I think it was Austin Johnson out there with them at the ones.
Yes.
Tell us about how the D line did today and how you felt about it.
According to reports, the D line did amazing. They did a great job. And then we're going to go, of course, to the secondary. But the D-line and the edge, they said they did an amazing job as far as getting into the backfield or doing what they have to do to make sure they disrupt Baker Mayfield back there. But going into this, guys, did anybody had a doubt with this particular line, especially after they saw Leonard Williams perform the way he did?
How good do you think our D-line is?
Scale of 1 to 10?
League-wide. No, just give me league-wide, yeah.
Oh, man. And you're going to kill me for this. You're going to kill me for
not
this.
Not top half? Or are you about to say not top half?
Top 10? And is that too low?
Oh, no. I don't even know. That might be too high, actually. But
you think so?
Nah, I like that because
think top 10.
When you said
because
I wasn't going to like it, I was thinking you were about to have them in the bottom 15 or something. Like, no.
I say top 10. And I thought that might have been too low for some Giants fans if I say, all right, it's going to be a top 10.
I'm trying to think, is that too high? Like,
it could be, though.
You know what I'm saying?
It could be for 15
let me put them in the 10 to 15 range, exactly.
I understand that. I don't mind a 15 to 10.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, in my opinion, I think it'll be 10. But a lot of people go 5 and probably at me later.
No.
But I really think that they're good, but they're top 15, top 10 good.
Yeah.
And I'm giving them more because maybe I'm being biased. I don't know, but I wouldn't be mad if you tell me top 15. I won't. I
Who
wouldn't be
has
mad
the
at
better
that
D
at all.
line, Washington or us?
Oh man, you got to say Washington.
You know why I disagree?
Go ahead.
I say us because that Washington D line has been the same up until last year when they added Chase Young, and we were always running on them. We were always passing on them with that same D line, man.
You got a point. You
You
got
know
a
what I'm
point.
saying? We dropped
got a
40
point.
points on them with that same D line.
Then you actually have a huge point on that. So yeah, I'm kind of flabbergasted. I can't combat that.
You know what I'm saying? It's
I can't,
like I
because
get
they were
what people
so
say 'cause
dominant.
They have
They were so dominant.
talent name wise, but like let's go look
Right.
at what happened before.
But
they
don't
added
forget
Chase.
they were dominant on other teams as well. They were playing pretty damn good.
Mhm.
But when it came to us, you're absolutely right. We would manage to figure out on how to score on them and actually win some games with them. So
Even
you're
last
absolutely
year,
right.
even though I think at one point they had a lot of sacks on us in one game last year. I think it was like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Did we not still come out with did we not
We still came out with the
dominate
dub.
them? Exactly.
No, you're right. We still come out with the dub. Now is that more? Oh no, yeah, no, I can't combat that because I'm like, man, how can I? With that
Because
offensive
you know,
line, I don't
know
know.
why it is a good argument in this particular sense to
It
say
is,
that
though.
we dominated them because our O-line has been trash for like 10 years. That's why I
Yeah,
think
you're
it's a good
right.
argument.
I'm trying to figure out something how I could combat you, but I'm sure I'm gonna at you later on and be like,
Yeah.
aha, I got you. I can't think of it now,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I would have thought Washington, in my opinion, because they did show dominance throughout the rest of the league. But when it came to us, no, you're absolutely right. I can't combat you. I can't argue
Now
that.
here's
I really
one
can't.
that Philly fans tell me a lot. Philly fans believe they got the best in the East. And the reason they say that is because Brandon Graham, I think, had like 10 sacks last year or something. And he was like
I'm
top
not
2 in like quarterback hits. And I'm like, listen, bro, Brandon Graham ain't doing anything. All right? Fletcher Cox is old. Like, legitimately,
Yes.
bro, who do y'all have on your D-line to make you say you are possibly the best in the East?
Nah, I can't. No,
You know what I
can't.
mean?
As far as the NFC East, if I had to, it's either between Washington and Giants in that number 1 spot, in my opinion. And then it'll be Dallas, and they don't really have anyone pretty in particular that I can think of offhand. But Philly's getting old, man. These guys aren't really getting any younger.
Super old,
like you said,
yeah.
Fletcher Cox is, I don't know, he's about a walker away. You know what I mean? So
What is he? Isn't he
I
like
don't
in
really
his
see it.
30s? Like,
He's got to be 30. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but maybe 32.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's aging up there as far as football age. He's not ancient, but he's up there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I really don't see any threat coming from the Eagles at all, in my opinion. I really
Exactly. What up, Miz?
really
Tuning in, Marco. We gonna get to that. All right, so hold off on that because we still got to get through the entire team here. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, Philly. I mean, listen, and then real quick, they're going like I'm gonna be generous. They going like 5-12, right?
don't. Which one?
Philly.
Who's that? Philly 5-12?
Too high, too low?
Too high. I
Okay.
think too high.
What
I
you
think
got
they
them
get 3
around there?
wins. I think they take 3 wins this year.
3 is so bad though.
I don't know, bro. I think they're doing 3.
You know what I'm saying? They got-
Did you
yo,
see this
that-
preseason? Number
Alright,
one, this
listen.
preseason, and
If-
I know
if
it's
we
preseason.
say it's just
Hold on, let me get this
preseason.
out. Let me
But if
get
we
this
say
out.
it's just preseason, it's just preseason.
I understand.
Yeah.
But when you look at the Giants game and you look at that preseason game for the Giants, let's speak on our team first.
Yeah.
We wasn't fundamentally sound. We wasn't tackling well, and our offense couldn't get anything going for nothing. When you look at that Eagles game, they wasn't tackling. It wasn't fundamentally sound. They couldn't even figure out what zone defense they were playing. They were getting killed. They were getting killed out there. So I'm just like, man, like, where's the coaching? Like, at least you can see some sort of flashes.
Mhm.
Like, on our defense, you saw some flashes. You saw some guys making some plays.
Nah,
you
our
saw some
second
good
team defense was dominating a first team offense.
Dude, you saw that. So you can say, like, man, I don't know. Like, you can kind of pick and choose, or not pick and choose, but just looking at that Philly game, I don't think they had enough, man, to tell me that, okay, these guys are going to be winning some games this season. They didn't have enough, and that first game was just sloppy. If they clean it up, the second game, then I'll change my opinion.
Mhm.
But what I saw right now, everything was sloppy on all phases. Their quarterback got killed, man, by the Patriots. Killed.
Joe Flacco.
Well, you know killed. You know what I mean? So again, I'm like, man, I don't think there's enough here as far as them winning no more than 3 games at this particular point. It might be 5, but I say 3, man. But again, I know it's just preseason, and we use that same
Let's be in
excuse
the
as well
middle,
for our
4.
team. Let's do 4. Let's do 4.
I feel like
4-16?
four
Oh,
is
4, not 4-16.
13.
Forgive me.
4-13.
13. Yes. I don't know why. See, I'm always these new games be killing me. Or this one extra game be killing me.
I mean, that puts them as legitimately one of the worst in. All right, so first of all, Houston's gonna be the worst team in the league. I think we could agree on that. Houston might
Okay.
very well go 0-17, bro. I'm not even gonna lie with you. I feel like they got a good shot at even going 0-17, man.
They might, but did they pulled Deshaun Jackson completely, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. You know,
I don't think he's
all the
starting at all, right?
allegations are still there. I mean, it's looking worse and worse for him.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know,
he's
man.
done. I think he's
He's-
done. So yeah, no, I
yeah.
can see that. I can
So-
see them not winning.
So yeah, they're gonna be the worst. I think Detroit might end up being another really bad team this year. Eagles are in there.
Eagles are in there.
What about the Falcons? Maybe the Falcons are down there again.
Maybe. I see that more. Yeah. I see. Actually, they are. I don't think they didn't do enough. They didn't. I don't think so.
So what other
Who else
teams do
you
you
got?
see finish? I mean, that's like 4 I listed, right? I don't know if there's any other one that comes to mind. I mean, the Jets. I don't know. Do the Jets continue to be bad with their new QB?
No, I don't think so. I don't think
Do
so.
the-
Zach Wilson looked pretty good.
Do the Jaguars continue to be bad with Trevor Lawrence? You know what I mean?
I
The
think so.
Bears.
You
I
can put-
hope the Bears do trash because we got their pick.
Listen, now the Bears will be trash. I'm speaking into existence.
A word.
You know, I'm speaking into existence so we can have that pick. You know what I mean? But I can see the Jaguars being bad. What do you think of the? I wouldn't say that. What do you think of the? I want to say Denver. What do you think of Denver? Middle of the pack?
That's a good one. I'd say middle of the pack. Real quick, let
Yeah?
me get this super chat from Tudo. Shout out to Tudo Azuri for the $5 super chat all the way from Italy. Thank you, man. He says, salute Pisano Kush. Drop by your office to pay my proper respects, and for all the Giants fans around the world, slap all the Eagles fans on the way out. I agree with you, man.
agree.
Tudo got jokes. I need him to drop a comedy book when he got the chance, man. But no, the reason Denver, I agree with you, middle of the pack, is strictly because if their defense clicks. They could be a top 10 defense in the league.
Now Teddy Bridgewater or the other guy. Forgive me.
Drew Lock
could be
has no
the-
business
Drew
starting
Lock
for
could
that
be-
team. He has
That's
no
I
business
was just
starting
about
for that
to
team.
say. I was just
Teddy,
about to say.
they're probably gonna start Lock like the first couple of games, and I'll thank them if we do because we played him game 1. But Teddy should start out the gate, in my opinion.
I agree, and that's not a huge upgrade either. Teddy's
Yeah.
good, but he's not a huge upgrade
Yeah, he's
either.
good, but
You know what I
like
mean?
he's literally, it's funny because it's in his name. He's like the pure definition of a bridge quarterback. He would be
Yeah, right.
perfect if they already had their replacement there, but they don't. You know, I'm
Yeah.
guessing they're gonna get it in this upcoming draft.
You know what? And I was really high on Drew Lock, man, when I saw a lot of his college tape. You know what I mean? I was like, this guy just might be it. I didn't expect him to be, an elite quarterback, but I expected him to win a few games and make a playoff. You know what I mean? I expected him to be a little bit above Teddy Bridgewater in that particular sense. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just a tad bit above, but, man, he's just, I don't know. He's not turning out to be what I
Yo,
thought, man, and it
Drew
sucks.
Lock. And real quick, shout out to Lauren from She Got Sports also in here. What up, Lauren? Great friend of the
Yeah.
channel. Also, in real life, I got to meet her at FanFest. And taller than I expected. Like 5'9". I was like, damn.
Jesus.
Anyway.
Damn.
Nah, it's
Yo,
a
how
good-
tall are
that's
you,
a good
man?
thing.
Because
That's a
you
good
look
thing,
pretty good. You
Lauren,
look
that's a
pretty
good thing.
tall. You look pretty tall in those photos, too, man. How tall are you?
I'm like 6'3".
Yeah, nah, I can't stand next to you, man. I'm a shrimp, man. I'm good. I'm
No,
5'9". I'm good.
I had Bobby on this past Wednesday on the Young Guns, and he was like, he was surprised at how tall I am in real life. And I'm like, you're 6'7". Why are you surprised? And he was like, nah, but people know I'm a former offensive lineman. People like they don't know anything about me. I was like, I guess you're right.
You're right. But yeah, nah, you definitely tall. When I saw the pictures, I was like, man, this guy's pretty freaking huge. Like, I'm a shrimp.
Right?
Like, man, I gotta wear something, man. Something in my shoes. Give me a couple inches.
You put some tissue in there.
Something, bro. Something.
But now,
Yeah, that's what's up. But
speaking
go
on
ahead.
Drew Lock, it's hilarious that at one point people consider Drew Lock a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. And not, just now, it's 100% hindsight that I'm saying this. But looking back at it now, I'm just like, nah, man, Daniel's clearly a better
Yo,
quarterback. in my
don't
opinion.
roast me. Don't roast me.
Yeah.
But I thought so too.
That's
I
what I'm
thought
saying. It's
so, too.
hindsight 100%.
Yeah, don't
You
roast
know what
me.
I mean?
Yeah. I thought so too.
But
I was
like,
like, man,
yeah.
I'll take a Drew Lock any given day. I thought, because I was like, man, this looks good. This guy looks like he's aware of the pocket. He looks, everywhere. His arm is good. Good accuracy. But boy, oh boy, I'm eating crow on that one, man.
Mhm.
I'm definitely eating crow.
I
ain't gonna
mean,
lie.
to be honest, it legitimately looks like there was only 2 good quarterbacks out of that draft, and it was Murray and Jones. It was the guys that went top 2. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And I can't
agree.
even say it's like they're in the best position because now Locke was technically in a better. He had the second best weapons to Kyler Murray, I think. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So it's
I
not like
agree.
Locke was in a bad position. He didn't have a terrible O-line. And who else was in that draft? Remember when Skip Bayless said Will Grier was going to be the best quarterback out of that draft? Taken in I think it was the 4th or 6th round by Carolina.
Listen, Skip Bayless is usually wrong a good percentage of the time as far as picking out any type of picks.
Yeah.
So I don't listen to Skip Bayless as much, but yes, I do remember that, and yeah. is eating crow.
It's hilarious, and the thing is, I've said this before. Tell me, how really far apart is the gap between Kyler and Daniel? Because some people or some media, some fans act like it's bigger than it actually is, in my opinion.
No, it's not, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like Daniel Jones is complete trash, man. He's not. Like he does have the intangibles to be a great quarterback. I just think the situation that Kyler Murray stepped into was a little bit better than Daniel Jones, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So the line was a little bit better. Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald, a Hall of Fame receiver.
He automatically had a better weapons, and then he got D-Hop last year.
Like, dude, like you got set up for success. This is DJ's year right now. The same exact how they set up Kyler Murray. I think now you'll start to see a little bit more of the same comparison and see that they're pretty much the same. Now, don't get me wrong. Kyler Murray has some skill sets for scrambling, etc., and his arm strength is good. But Daniel Jones has a damn good arm. He runs a little faster.
He can see over the pocket.
He can see over the pocket, right?
He's like one thing people don't realize,
I think, right? 6'6".
DJ is a big dude. He's like 6'5", 6'6", 230.
Yeah.
And we know those last 20 pounds of the 230 is pure muscle because he was 210 his rookie year, 220 last year, and now he's 230.
Hell yeah. And he's slinging that thing. That arm, it looks great. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people will start to see how Daniel Jones is because we're going to get back to that, guys. I know we just fell off topic, but even in training camp, when you start to look at Daniel Jones and his day, this guy is probably maybe throwing a good 75% of his passes out there. One interception. You know, let's be honest. And I think he got sacked. They said he got sacked at least maybe about 4 times in camp, if they were to count sacks. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't get hit. But Daniel Jones hitting 75% of those targets, and some of those incompletes was throwing off bouncing off the wide receivers or tight ends' hands, according to reports. So I think he's starting to see Daniel Jones coming to the Daniel Jones that it's just we're gonna have to wait and see. You know what I mean? But exactly. I think he's gonna be a pleasant surprise this season. I'm not selling any Daniel Jones stock. I'll tell you that. I tell people all the time, and I get roasted. Daniel Jones is going to be that guy this season. I'm telling you that. At me later. I am Eli Racks. At me. Yell at me if I'm wrong. But trust me, I think this guy's going to be it this season. I got a strange feeling, man.
And shout out to Tudo once again for the $5 super chat. He says, when Giants meet the Eagles at the link, that's when all Eagles feel the chill in their shivers throughout all their body because we'll be there. Yeah, apparently Tudo, he's a former pro rugby player, and him and his friends, also former pro rugby players in Italy, go down to the link every year.
Really?
And that's hilarious if any Eagles fan want to pick a brawl with them because you don't mess with your rugby players are tough, bro.
They're very tough. Like a lot of people don't know, man. That's a physical sport. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's very minimal pads, I guess you could say in a way.
No,
some pads.
It's literally no pads. I think.
It's minimal pads or none or something like that, right? So these guys are crashing into each other. Like I can't. I'm good, and especially when they try to get the ball off the ground and like they go and shoulder.
Scrum,
I can't do that. Yeah, well, I know very very little on rugby. Don't get me here trying to talk about it. But I've seen a couple games and I'm like, man, I don't want to hear any NFL player talking about they hurt, bro. That looks like it hurt.
Exactly.
That looks like it hurts, man. I'm good. Shout out to him.
Yeah, and then you know what? So yeah, D-line, we were not surprised. Linebackers, and then we'll get to secondary. Linebackers, I mean, we all know Blake Martinez is that guy. What can I say? I think he's super underrated. Like, underrated to the point that Madden having him at a 79. I know it's just Madden, but, like, talk about disrespect. In my opinion, he's a top Madden, 10 middle linebacker in the league, and you give him a 79, bro? Like, come on now. Like,
no, listen, I agree with that. You know, Blake Martinez is a tackling machine. Good eyes.
Over the past 4 years, he has more tackles than anybody else in the league.
Anybody in the league, man. And the fact that they don't recognize that, I think because he's just a humble guy. I mean, he doesn't really flash much. He goes and makes the play back to the line. You know, he's not going to go in there and make these trick catches and intercept the ball, but he's going to tackle the crap out of you for loss or whatever the case is to stop that play. It's just he's humble, man, and it sucks because he really is a legit talent in this league, and that'll go under the road because he's so humble. You know,
I don't know why. I have the feeling that he's just gonna go like his career is gonna be a little bit just underrated for all time. You know what I mean? Like, and he's come to the Giants now where he has a bigger market, so more people know about him now. But it's still like he's not getting the recognition he deserves. He deserved the Pro Bowl last year.
I agree.
In my opinion, you could even argue an All-Pro selection, but I'll give him the Pro Bowl, right? Didn't even get it. I'm like, what else does he have to do? Like, this dude was a monster last year.
And I'm going to be honest, he's probably going to give us the same numbers as he gave us last year with a little bit extra, a little bit of twist to it.
I'd say 10, 15 more tackles just because of the extra game.
I'll take that. You know what I mean? But he still won't make the Pro Bowl nod, in my opinion. And I hate to say it, man, and I'm probably going to get chewed out by Giants fans for saying this, but he really is. I agree with you. He's really gonna be that guy that's just gonna be in the middle of the pack. That's just gonna be all right. He was just a tackler. That's it. You know what I mean? And I hate
People
to see
not
it
gonna
because
recognize it.
he's such a great talent, man. And I hope he proves me wrong, and I hope he balls the hell out to where that people can see it. But boy, man, like I just hate it. I just hate to see that he's just gonna go in the middle of the pack and that's it for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and shout out to Tudo once again for another $5 super chat. I really do appreciate it, my man. He says we don't go to the link to watch the game. We just go there to bully Eagles fans and leave our famous signature behind: broken noses and missing front teeth.
I ain't mad at you.
Listen,
knock a couple out for me. Don't say that. I'm kidding.
I don't support violence, but
I don't support violence.
In certain situations, if it involves Eagles fans, I might just look the other way.
Listen, Eagles fans, man, they're extremely rude, man. They can get underneath someone's skin. Yeah, that's a tough crowd, man. So I understand you go in there, you got your mouth guard in and ready to fight, man. All hats off to you. I just stay away from it. I just stay away from that stadium. I'm good.
Imagine being an Eagles fan. You go up to Tudo not knowing his background, and like you hit him, and then he just like tanks it. He just eats that punch. He's like, "You serious right now, bro?"
yo, imagine you like hard as you can, you hit that guy, and he just looks at you, eyes wide, like
he's like, "You really want to go down this road?"
I'm like, "Nah, listen, man, you won. You want a beer?"
Yo, I got you. I got you for the rest of the night.
Was it nachos? I got you, man. Don't worry.
Listen, bro. Here's my card, bro.
Max,
the code is 1234.
Like, listen, here's my season tickets. Come here anytime.
Yeah,
you good, bro.
Listen,
you
good.
Need
a place to stay. Listen, man, I live down the block and to the right, bro.
Like somebody eat as hard as you can, like your punch, all your might, and he just eats it.
He's just
you gotta offer him. You gotta offer him your firstborn after that. Like, you gotta offer him your firstborn, bro.
You gotta do something, bro.
You gotta do something. Because you gotta be like, ooh, I didn't mean to. I was a fly. I was just
there was like a mosquito on your face. You know what I mean?
I just wanted to get it for you.
It was a brolic mosquito too. So I don't think a slap would have worked. You know what I'm saying? I had to use the fist.
Yo, I had to. It was brolic. It was brolic.
Yo, listen, man. That mosquito had a vein popping out his neck, bro. You didn't see it, man. The stinger was this big, bro. Trust me.
Yo, it was going for your face. I got him, though. I got him.
Like, yo, listen. For your trouble, though, you know, I got you. I got you with the Bud Light for your trouble, though.
Word. Man, nah, I'm good, man. I don't want no problem with nobody like that. Heck no, bro.
Nah, you gotta make up all excuses at the book at that point, bro.
I agree.
You're dealing with that. You're dealing with that, bro. Yo, you don't want to end up like the Aaron Donald dude, bro. And you know, props to the Aaron Donald dude though, because it was a 4-on-1. He still got up afterwards with a bloody face and walked out, bro.
Yo, listen, man. Shout out to him, man. He ate a few. I don't know if it was the beer muscles in him, but I give that dude credit, man, because I don't know.
Did you see who actually started it, bro?
Oh, nah, I didn't. Like, I saw a little bit of the clip of it, and I just saw him getting like hit, duffed out.
Listen,
and I was like,
man,
all right.
Some people just want to watch the world burn. It was like an old lady behind them that threw a beer on him, and he thought it was the dudes, and that's why it started. And that same old lady in the clip where he was getting just like smacked around threw another beer on him. I'm like, yo, somebody needs to go arrest her, bro.
That's messed up.
Somebody needs to go arrest
messed
her.
up. Yeah, that's messed up. Somebody should have
I don't know if you watch RDC. I've been a big fan of RDC since like 2016, bro.
Yeah.
She's a gold medal instigator, bro, in the Hood Olympics, bro. That's what her role was.
RDC was Instagram, you said?
Nah, RDC, they on YouTube. I think they're on Instagram now too. But like, I've been following them. They were actually one of my many inspirations for getting on YouTube. Like, I occasionally put out my own skits, and it's completely inspired by them. And I love RDC World One. They're doing great things, man. Mark Phillips and all that. It's a real inspiration, especially for like the colored community. They really came up out of nowhere, bro, and they're absolutely hilarious. You know what I'm saying? They're idols.
Absolutely.
LeBron and J. Cole. They met them in the same week this past month, and everybody was just so hyped. It's incredible.
So, shout out to them, man. Yeah, shout out to them for sure. I gotta take a look at a little more of that. I get in there a little bit. Shout out to them for sure.
Yeah, and shout out to Tudo giving us a little bit more background here. He says we're all Italian pro rugby players. Unlike all American NFL players, we do not wear pads. And he says in diapers for real battle. Now listen, man, you going out there just bare, bro. I mean, I respect it.
I respect you, man. Listen, I remember playing little football and tackling, and I remember going home and arm sore, this sore, and I look at rugby and I go, man, I just can't. Like, you can't play without no equipment, man. I grew up in the projects, and I didn't have equipment. I was too poor, and we was hitting each other just skin, and I know how painful that could be, So more power to you, bro, and them rugby players. Shout out to y'all guys.
For me, I'll never try and exaggerate what I did in high school when it came to football. It was like I think my peak was a backup fullback / tight end, and I was only on there for like 1 season. All right, so I'm not gonna sit here and exaggerate anything, but even then, in practice was tough. I spend more of my time actually on wrestling. I was a wrestler more than a football player in high school, and then like one time I don't know if I pulled a hamstring or something, but after one of the meets I came home and I couldn't walk for like a week, bro, and I couldn't put any pressure on that hamstring, yo. And can you imagine what it is just like now on like a rugby level where you're like hitting full speed, cracking skulls, bro, like it's crazy.
Dude, you got to sit in the ice bucket pretty much the entire week, and hopefully that your muscles won't be sore. You know what I mean? But I can't do it. Like, I give a lot of credit to that, man. I think that sport should be a little more on the forefront, and represent it well a little bit better. But it's a violent sport, man, and it's fun to see, though. It's definitely fun to watch, just to see, like, man, these guys are really putting it all on the line for the name of the sport. So, shout out to rugby players, man, for real, for real. And I'm sorry, y'all, we went off topic, but you got to talk about it. It's pretty dope. Yeah, it's really dope. It's really dope.
But get it back on it. Linebackers, all respect to Blake.
Absolutely.
So the guys that had the attention were the 2 sophomore players that a lot of people are gunning for to get that second spot. Tay Crowder and Carl Coughlin. And I'm gunning for both of them. I'm going to be honest. I'm gunning a little bit more harder for Tay because I just love Tay based off of last year. I love his story. Literally coming from a point where his high school coach told him that, like, you're not going to make it to college and stuff like that. But then Carter also has his own story, 7th round pick as well, just like Tay, coming from a smaller school. He came from Minnesota. Tay was at a bigger program in Georgia. He shifted positions. Like, they both have great stories. I just want one of them to get it,
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have any picks when it comes to those two. I love Tay Crowder, like you said, Mr. Irrelevant. Carter Coughlin, man, as well, a great story. Like, I really just want both of them to win, no matter what. Let's say if they don't make this roster, I think there's another team that's going to give them that shot, and they're going to be just as equally as successful if they were on the Giants, in my opinion. So I'm rooting for both those guys, bro.
Roster, though. They
are. I'm just saying hypothetically. Hypothetically, you know what I mean? They'll be okay in their own right. Let's say that. You know what I mean? But they're good players, great players, and I'm rooting for the both of them, man. Even the more the merrier that can make plays and go out there for us. So I'm rooting for both of those guys.
Shout out to the Giants coaching staff, bro, our linebackers coaches, and obviously Pat Grant specifically, because, yes, these guys are talented, but our linebackers coaches, who I love from the moment we hired them, bro, Kevin Schurer, it was Kevin Schurer and Brett Bielema last year. Brett Bielema left for...
And he took a head coaching job.
At college level, and now we got Jeremy Pruitt in there.
Correct.
Either way, our linebacking coaches did an amazing job to have talents that were picked this late be that good for us last year.
Be that great. You know what I mean? That's all coaching, man. Like, a lot of people don't understand when they start to draft these particular players, like, these late draft picks could be your starters. You know what I mean? But it depends on how you coach and develop them. They say after the 4th round, these guys are developmental players. So it's all about that coaching staff teaching them, coaching and training them and developing these players to be hopefully a starter or to hopefully contribute to a team that win you a Super Bowl. These guys are equally as important. So I look at them rounds, man, 1 to 7 or whatever the case is, to make sure these guys, because they can contribute. They really, really can at any given moment. So I'm rooting for them, man. Like I said, more credit to those linebacking coaches, like you said, because these guys that are in the later rounds came along pretty damn well, man, or coming along pretty well.
With how good both of them are doing, where in the world do you think Reggie Ragland lands in the middle linebacking depth?
Yo, I don't know. Like,
right?
I really don't know. Like, at this point,
he was supposed to be our number 2.
Exactly, but do you think he's gonna get any type of playing time or a roster spot? Let's be honest.
Right now, I won't go as far to say, off the roster, but right now it doesn't look like he might get any playing time.
Time at this point, right?
At this point, right? Unless he really comes out Cleveland and, like, he just goes off
and lights it up.
I mean,
but
because that's all it's going to take for him. Let's be honest. For him, a player that's already established, all it's going to take is for him to show us that he's still got something in the tank. In my opinion,
that's all it is.
And then
that's,
get him out there.
I don't know, but does he get in all the snaps that we thought he was going to get?
Not at this point, nah.
At this point, no. I can't tell you. I don't know.
Before,
I'm glad to have him, but I don't know.
Bro, before even Carter Coughlin was lining up, when I made that Tay Crowder video was like a month before they officially switched them positions. You know what I'm saying? I was already almost off the Reggie Ragland train, so to speak, just because I'm like, you know who convinced me, actually? We just talked about him, Blake Martinez. Blake, like, in an interview said that Tay Crowder is one of the better players he's played beside, that he feels comfortable and confident playing next to him. He know he can make up for a mistake that Blake makes, or he knows that he's quick and agile enough to do stuff on the field. And I don't take that lightly. Like, I don't think Blake is about to say that about any middle linebacker. And I know, yes, he is propping him up as a young rookie on his team, But I take it seriously when Blake says that. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey man, if he's seeing something special, and guess what? By the way, I put this in the video I made about Tay as well. It was Blake Martinez that convinced Patrick Graham to start Tay Crowder during the season last year. So Blake saw it before we even saw it on the field, and he was right. Which is why when I discovered that interview, I'm like, I got a little bit more confidence in Tay Crowder now. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny how you said that. He was the one that
had to go to the coaches and be like, put this guy in there.
And it's funny you said how you paid attention to the interview, because a lot of Giants fans would be like, oh, is this fluff? Is this fluff? But no, there's some nuggets out in those interviews. If I'd have saw that interview, I'd have been like, oh, yeah, now I'm going for that too. Let's buy that stock of Tay Crowder. You know what I mean? But I'm glad you pay attention to that detail and actually said, hey, Blake Martinez bigged him up in an interview. Because that's a damn good cosign. You know what I mean? And he's been right so far.
Especially when you learn that if it wasn't for him, Tay Crowder might not have seen the field until much later on in the season.
True. That's true.
You know what I mean?
But the fact that he said, hey, this is my co-captain, put him out there, that's not bad, man. That's a damn good cosign. And I believe what Blake Martinez says, man.
Exactly.
I'm telling you right now. I really do. Shout out to him, man. Made a good choice. But like I said, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm sorry. I'm not mad at the talent that we have here. We have some good people, man. Like I said, top 5 defense, in my opinion. The poor top 10. The worst would be top 10. But top 5, in my opinion, man.
I'd actually be super disappointed if we were top 10 because we were 9th last year.
For real.
Worst talent,
right? We got to go up. We were
9th last year with no edge rusher because of the injuries.
No.
You know
and it's nuts. Like, the sky's is the limit. And again, I hope to get out of this preseason, not all these camps, injury-free. Of course, now we know, it's pretty hard to do. But at least for the major roles, I guess I'm saying, like, not to try to sound like, hopefully none of our starters get hurt. Like, that's just crazy to say because you don't want anybody to get hurt, per se. But I just really hope we come out of this thing healthy enough to, for these people to contribute on this particular team. I'm hoping, man. So we'll see. The sky's the limit, though. Sky's the limit.
And shout out to Tudo once again for another $5 super chat. He says, once the Eagles fans find out we're Italian Giants fans from Sicily, they run faster than the Olympics track and field. Listen, we just went through the whole joke and roast of the Eagles fans saying giving up your firstborn and everything, bro. We believe you.
We believe you, bro. No, listen. Listen, keep the super chats coming, man. I appreciate that, man. Support my guy.
Thank you, right?
Anytime.
Shout out to Benny. Kid Blue's in the house. Y'all need to go over to check him out. My co-host, you already know the vibes. One of my good friends off of YouTube as well. And Luann in here, she says, hey, Kush, please no injuries. And I want Galladay and Tony on the field. Since, what, I feel like we've been comfortably switching one offense, one defense. We'll continue the vibes like that. So going back on the offense, we'll talk wide receivers. And let's get with Galladay and Tony. And where are you with, not necessarily Galladay and Tony, but Galladay and I feel like Rudolph are the two main injuries right now. The two main guys on the pup.
Yeah.
When do you think they're coming back? Like, do you think the Giants are just babying them, kind of like how they're babying Saquon, which I got no problem with, or is it something else?
No, I really think it's a week 1 type of thing. Except for Kyle Rudolph, I think Kyle Rudolph might be a 3rd week type of guy as far as in the season.
But here's the thing, though, bro. If he's on the pup week 1,
now they're going to have to make
forced to miss the first 6 weeks.
Now, unless they can do the short-term IR, whatever the case is, I know that's been floating out there as well, where he could come back. I think in week 6, correct me if I'm wrong, or whatever the case is.
Either way, he's missing 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Six weeks. But
for me, it's way too much for a guy we gave $6 million to.
Let me say this. Let me ask you this: do you have faith in Evan Ingram, or do you believe in? Okay. Listen, now here's why I'm not worried.
Wait, let me clarify.
Okay, go ahead.
Do I think he's going to be better than last year? Yes.
Yes.
I think it's inevitable Evan Ingram is going to be better than last year. I think that's like rock bottom his career. For several reasons, he's not going to be the number 1 target anymore. We know at this point.
You hit it on the head.
Yeah, it has to be mental at this point, right?
Yes,
so
you hit it on the
head.
head.
So much pressure off of him. So I do think he's going to be better. But in terms of do I believe in him? Nah, man. I think we might, and maybe I'm pessimistic, but I think we might be hitting a point where it's just like he needs a change of scenery. Maybe he just needs to go to another team to flourish.
That could be the case, but I really think he's going to have a good year this year because he's not the number 1 target. He got a supporting cast around him, so the pressure isn't as much on him. I can't say pressure too much because shout out to Brandon London. Brandon London was like, yo, it's football. Like, it shouldn't be any pressure. This is your job. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I understand his point of view, but at the same time, there is a pressure to being that guy. Being that number 1 guy or being that safety blanket if a Golden Tate couldn't get open or a Darius Slayton couldn't get open, or whatever the case is.
Shepard
you know what I mean?
Or retirement at one point, bro.
Exactly. So, again, I think he's going to have a comeback year. I think people are going to appreciate this year from him because he's going to have a supporting cast around him. So I believe in Evan Ingram. I really do. And I really think he's going to come up big on certain plays for us. I really do. I really, really do. So I'm not really worried about if Kyle Rudolph is coming back in week 6. But they do have to make that decision. We don't know. I guess it's a waiting type, see type of thing. But if they're not, activating him off this pup, then we're not going to see him to week 6. I'm telling you right now, we're not. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I'm confident enough that Evan Ingram will hold it down enough to get us to win these games and come through when, during these big plays. I'm confident enough for sure. And as far as Galladay, week 1, like I said, man, we'll see from there.
AP in the chat as well with the King Beerus from DBZ profile picture. Shout out to him, man. Good taste right there. With the wide receivers, you mentioned Darius Slayton earlier. He had a catch that could have been, in a regular game, a touchdown.
He's looking good too, brother. He's looking good. I didn't mean to cut you off.
First of all, him and Shep.
Go ahead. Yes.
All off season long.
Yes.
Good.
Listen, there was this one particular play that Shep did, and shout out to Shep.
Oh no, I'm sorry to cut you off, bro. We got Evan Ingram in the chat. For I don't know how much you've been here, but Evan Ingram.
Go ahead, talk to me.
Evan Ingram, he's one of those not troll accounts, but there's a lot of joke accounts on my channel. Like there's even one of me called Stimulus Check Hub, which is a screen cap of one of my characters from one of my skits where I'm in Ray-Bans, I got an iPhone and everything. There's of everybody, and Evan Ingram is one of those dudes. He always comes in saying he's gonna be demon season, so he's in here right now. He says,
out Evan Ingram.
Trust me, I'll hold it down. I don't trust you, bro, but you got it.
Yo, I trust you, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I trust you, man.
He's like, what
I
do you mean
appreciate
it's
that.
the real Ingram? Okay, bro.
Yo, I trust you, bro. Yeah, I trust you, bro.
You got it. Hey, man.
Yo, don't make me eat crow. Don't make me eat crow, Evan Ingram. Do not, man. You better come out and ball out demon season, like you said, man.
Right. But yeah, go ahead with the wide receivers, man. Shep and Slayton, you were saying.
Listen, Shep and Slayton, forgive me, man, but Shep, there was one particular play in practice where he had maybe about a 3-yard separation, maybe a little bit more, caught the ball 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, yo, is this the separation y'all looking for? This guy looks great, looks leaner, looks more muscular. You know what I mean? And Shep and Slayton looks quick. He looks quicker on a draw, man. Like he's hitting these routes and he's getting that yards of separation that he needs. And he's looking great out there, man.
Do you think it's that he's quicker or that he's learning more how to get separation and then he's using the quickness?
It seemed like he's not thinking anymore. You get what I'm saying? Like I think the first couple plays,
he's just going out there and doing it.
Right, he's balling. Like he's going out there and balling without thinking too much. I think that year, the second year, I believe I think it's his 3rd year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Last year was his second. Yeah.
His second, right? So his last year, I think the pressure was on him because he did so well his first year. You know what I mean? So he was just like, oh, I got to make up for that. But this particular year, he's looking good, man. He looked like he's not thinking no more. Seemed like the pressure is gone. Like the game is coming to him instead of for him trying to find the game. You know what I mean? So he looks like he's thinking more, and he looks fast, man. He looks quick. This looks like he knows his routes in the playbook. Maybe it could be the playbook a whole lot better as well. He looks good out there, man. And that's another, threat that we have as well. Shout out to him, man. He's looking great.
Once again, shout out to Tudo again for another $5 super chat. He says, for every Giants losing game this season, more Eagles fans will have broken noses and missing front teeth. They better cheer for NYG every game.
Yo, he really hates the Eagles, man.
I don't blame him.
Yo,
you kidding
he really
me?
hates the Eagles.
Listen, man, I probably have the same level of hate if I was in his shape, bro. You kidding me?
Listen, man, I love everyone, man. That's me. That's his vibes.
How you love the Eagles, bro?
No, listen, I just love everyone. I don't like the Eagles when it comes to competition as far as that, but shout out to everybody. I want everybody healthy and winning. That's just me.
Man. Better than me, bro.
I know. I'm trying.
Herbert Elliott in here. Bobby Murphy, the local Eagles fan in here, and Miz in here. Shout out to Bobby Murphy. He trolls a lot. Well, not trolls. He just supports his team a lot in the chat. But he's good people. He's good people, even though he's Eagles fan. So Shep has been balling out of his mind as well. Slayton, I agree with you. It looks like he's just going out there and doing it because, game 1. Week 1 Steelers last year, I think he was going out there and doing it. And I think after that, especially after they saw, how the offense did struggle with the run game, I agree with you. I think he was just like, I got to help out somehow. I got to do more somehow. Yeah. And it was just too much. And then you combine that with everything else. You combine that with the battle line play for the first half. Terrible play calling for the entire season. And it's like, he does have a down season. Even though technically, he had the same season production-wise that he did his rookie year. But a lot of people don't know that.
Right. And on top of that, I think a lot of the coverage went to him as well, too. If you look at a couple of those plays, he was getting doubled. He was getting a lot of that time because they were like, nobody else is going to beat us. You know what I mean? We Golden Tate. Shep was, in and out, whatever the case was. It couldn't really find his way too much, but they doubled him a lot. So I think now it's just he got all these weapons around him and these names around him that he's gonna get off, man. I think he's gonna get off this season, in my opinion. He looks good. Looks like he's just ready,
with
man.
you too. You know what I'm saying? Right now, Luan saying I think Slayton's gonna have a big year. Miz saying love the fire, passion, fighting the Browns. Evan Ingram says hashtag 2021 Demon Ingram.
Hey, respect, man. Shout out to you, man. Listen, you better not make me lose this money because I'm a bet when the camera's off, all right?
Listen.
Don't make me lose, Evan. Do not.
Evan, do what you do with me and let me down every time, but this time you'll be helping me out. All right? Just do what you do, man. I believe in you to be consistent. I believe in you, man. Which is your consistency is inconsistency, if that makes sense, bro.
Right?
All right?
No, Lord, be consistent. Just win some games, man. Catch the freaking ball, bro. That's it. Come on, you get paid to catch.
But we were talking about Slayton. Shepard, first of all.
Yo.
Does Shepard not look more cut than ever?
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. I thought his legs was competing with Saquon. He's huge,
bro,
man.
Even his arms, yo, and like he knows it too because he's rocking more arms like sleeveless shirt than I've ever seen in my life, bro. Like he knows it too.
Even that fight in training camp today, you see him ducking like the Matrix, like Neo.
First of all, we can get into that right now because we're at the wide receiver point. First of all, Troy Hill. All right, I'm gonna play. I told you what was I gonna play.
I know, do you? I'm here, man. I'm vibing.
Listen, Troy Hill.
You're not that guy, pal.
You're not that guy.
You're not that guy.
You're not that guy.
First of all,
not that guy.
He was in a slap boxing pose.
He was.
Anybody that knows what slap boxing is knows you only use it if you're slap boxing.
That's a fact. Yo, somebody told me he was punching with the pinky up, like drinking a drink on my Twitter today. I died.
This right here, bro. I don't know if you watch the Boondocks. Shout out to the Boondocks, one of my favorite shows of all time, bro. That's Riley's fighting stance, bro. Riley got this right here, bro. And you know what I'm saying? That's how you break your fingers, bro. Like, what's wrong with this dude, bro?
Yo, I thought it was gonna be one of these. One camera looked like he was like about to just do one of these windmill jumps.
He threw the widest haymaker of all time, bro.
Yo, and Sepp is just Sepp is like, all right, let me just get back up.
On Instagram, bro. Because
I missed it.
Bleacher Report not tweeted out on Instagram, posted the 4 pictures. So it was the pictures of them just at each other. First of all, just off of build alone, I was going to take my bet with Shep, all right? And he's my guy, obviously.
Facts.
But the fact that he dodged it, he got the agility too, all right?
Yo, he do.
He got the build and the agility, all right?
He does, bro.
If John Ross didn't come in there, can I get a John Ross? If John Ross did not come in there, all right, Troy Hill would have been knocked out, in my opinion. Because we were just talking about how jacked Shepard looks, and he's always been fast. He's always been agile. And then you got Troy Hill out here throwing the widest haymakers. So this is what Jabril commented under that post of the 4 pictures. He was like, yo, Shep was out here dodging them slow things, bro. He's like, yo, they too slow, bro. Exactly.
Yo, he said that?
Bro.
That's real.
Bradbury commented. He was just like, young Shep. Jabril commented what I just said. And there was a couple of the Giants players commenting. There was a couple retired NFL players commenting on it.
Yeah.
Everybody was on Shep's side, bro, because they were like, that haymaker ain't it, bro. And
that ain't it.
That's gonna be a meme. I want that to be.
Sleep.
I want that to
waiting
be
for
a
you.
big meme, bro.
Because
he's literally like he's so. Like...
Yo, I think I'm gonna have to do something. We both might have to do something when this is over.
Yeah.
And just tweet it out and see what it can do. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna make a meme out of that. I'm dead ass. I will. I'm gonna do it.
I mean, the one that's already been made is the one everybody wants to make, which is. On the Troy Hill punch, is that BS and then Shepard, it's me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's already been made, bro.
Word. I'm with it all, bro. Like, I'm with all. Listen,
man.
Speaking of that, like I said, his agility, all of that stuff, even down to the fight, he looks great, man.
First of all, he didn't have the Riley stance. He had an actual stance.
Yo,
and he didn't have the slap box. Like, he was ready, like
he was ready to knock something out.
He had it at his chest, but you could tell if he needed to, you know what I'm saying? If he needs to block.
Yo, but did you zoom in on his face? Like, he was just
he was like, or something like that.
Yeah, he was just like yo, it was just like nothing there.
Bro, in one picture, he had his tongue out, though. It was hilarious. He was like,
I didn't see that one yet.
It was hilarious,
I gotta see it, man. I've been running around, but I saw little bits and pieces on Twitter, and I was like, yo, I gotta see the rest of these pictures. There's 4. I'm gonna check them out.
We need a clear video. The photographer is legendary, but the only video is blocked by everybody.
I heard the media left. They didn't even know. Just those photographers that were there.
Yeah.
Because when he got to the podium, they were like, hey, how's practice? Like, nothing happened. And the media was like, yo, we missed it? They're like, yo, we missed the fight? Yo, and he was just talking to the media like, it's competition, blah, blah, blah. That's what Shep was saying.
Can I just say that HBO is sick to their stomach right now.
Right now.
Hard Knocks is sick to their stomach. The Giants would have been
Listen,
so much more better than the Cowboys.
you
And I'm
know
not
the
even
Giants is
saying
gonna
that
be next
because
year.
of all the entertaining and great stuff that's happened in training camp. But this Hard Knocks season has legitimately been boring to watch, in my opinion. Like they
Yo,
don't
if
really got anything to talk about.
It's Dallas. I ain't watching. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Bro, you're not
It's
missing
Dallas, I ain't
anything.
watching.
The first
bet.
episode was so boring. The second one, I couldn't even get through half of it. I was like, is this just me hating the Cowboys? I'm like, no, they ain't got nothing to
Trash.
show, bro. You know
Listen,
how
I
much
saw-
better they would have been with the Giants?
Oh, much better. But I think Mara's the type of dude, he doesn't want any of that on TV, bro. He doesn't.
You know what's
He doesn't want to
hilarious?
see how anything's
His
ran.
family has their money from movies, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like you know, Kate Mara, that's his niece.
Tish, yeah.
Kate
That Tish
Mara
family.
is his niece.
You know, Tish. I think Tish is.
Tish is
if
also
you look
in
at
movies. He's a
if you look at
producer.
net worth,
Yeah,
John Mara's worth $500 million, and the Tish family is like 1.3.
yeah.
These guys make all these type of movies. It's freaking nuts, bro. You know what I mean? So they got. I don't know. They just don't want to be involved in that stuff, man. I don't know.
And
I would
shout-
love to see it as a Giants fan, but I don't know, man.
I don't think we're ever gonna get it. Yeah, I think that was a Mara move, to be honest. But shout out to PJ for the $2 super chat. He said Shep got that Canelo head movement.
Yo, you saw that? Word.
I was gonna say, you know what I'm saying? He got a little Floyd in it, you know what I'm
Word.
saying? Just
Yo, he was like, whoop, like, yo,
Right.
bro. Number one, I've never seen anybody duck like that. He like missed him by 10 miles.
yeah.
Like, he looked like he was just ready for the
that's
uppercut.
number two, bro. Number one is I've never actually seen hands being thrown.
Nah,
Yeah,
never.
I've never seen
Yo.
that was a legit square up and then they were throwing hands, bro. I've never
Yo,
seen
bro,
that.
not for nothing. Anybody in the street? Hopefully, you in a street fighter, brother.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like he's about to hit him with the tiger uppercut, right? Like,
Yeah.
like Shep looked like a tiger uppercut. Like, he's about to the all you can. Like, you're like, bro, look great out there. I'm like, yo, Shep, man. I don't know. I'm scared of Shep. Shep got hands, man. I don't care what nobody say. Shep got hands. It looks good. But man, I don't know. That was great to see.
I'm a very casual baseball fan. What I mean by that is that I support the Yankees because I'm in New York and because
Facts.
I support the Yankees. That's literally my extent to it. I've been to like 2 Yankees games in my life. Funnily enough, I've been to more Mets games, but that's because the Mets are literally like 15 minutes away from me, so it's very easy to go there.
Ah.
Then continuing on with Shep, that we literally got on a tangent
Yeah.
because he's looking cut now and he knows
Absolutely.
it. He's also been on a tear in training camp. He has
Yes.
legitimately probably been our best receiver in training camp this season, this offseason. so
Consistently.
far.
Yeah, consistently out there, man. If you look at some of the reports, man, this guy's very consistent. Catches a good percentage of his balls. It might be all of them, if I'm not mistaken, that's thrown his way. If anything, maybe about 2 to 3 drops, if we were to take a guess on that. But I know he's been catching everything out there, playing extremely well, and he's been chirping about it. He got a chip on his shoulder, man, and I think he's going to have a
I think
damn
he has a
good year
chip
as
on
well.
his shoulder because he's like, first of all,
All the fans, all the fans.
Yeah,
All the
I'll say-
fans
I'll
are
say
telling him,
two
oh,
things.
you don't have separation, you this, you that, and the third.
I think
You
one
know
of
what
it
I mean?
is that all the fans say that he's just a slot receiver. I think that's one of it. He's not just a slot receiver. It's just that he does his best work in the slot. You know what I'm saying? If we actually go to the snaps the past 2 years, he's been on the outside quite a lot. Like compared
No,
to
he
how much
has.
he's been on the
I
slot.
say he's a 2 at best. I say he's a 2
He
at
is.
best. He's
And
not
I
a number
think
one. He's
that's
a
part
2
of
at best.
Like, and I'm not saying any of what we're, or I'm not saying all of what we're saying is untrue, but he's using it as motivation, right? Like one of the
course.
things that I definitely disagree with is when people say Shepard is overpaid, because for a number 2
No.
receiver in this league, he's actually underpaid. I think he's only making
Absolutely.
like 12 mil a year or something.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
on a
Yeah.
bargain deal, and he knows that some fans feel like he's overpaid, which is ridiculous. So I think that's another thing as well. Like he's just, then you combine it with people saying that he's never on the field all the time, which that is a fact. He is not on the field all the time. I think he's looking in himself to have that big year.
I agree with that. You know what I mean? And plus, we don't know as far, let's be honest, like can Shep stay on the field a whole year healthy? That's yet to be determined at this point. You know what I mean? Because this guy, God forbid he's one concussion away from just being done.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
like I was
So
saying,
I'm
it was either
hoping.
last year or the year before where he was literally with his family considering retirement because he was out with
Yeah.
the concussions. Like
Exactly.
he's had a bad history of him going back all the way to high school.
That's true. And you know what, though? But I think he put on that weight because he's like, listen, I got to take these hits. If I'm going to be in a slot, get up and go across the middle, whatever the case is. Go ahead.
Hold up. I don't know if you're a wrestling fan at any point in your life. And
course.
do not troll me. Because there has been rumors about this for the entire week, and it's going on as we speak.
Talk to
CM
me.
Punk is back, he says.
Really?
Bro. Yeah, there's been
To the
rumors.
WWE? I thought he'll
Nah,
never
to
go back there.
AEW, to AEW.
Oh, it's AEW. Oh,
And-
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's
Nah,
why
that
I'm
makes
gonna
sense.
keep it real. I've been watching AEW way more in the past. Well, first of all, I've been on.
I
Like,
don't know
a
what
wrestling
happened with
hiatus.
WWE, man.
Yeah,
I
I've
don't
been
know what
like on
happened
a
with
wrestling
WWE.
hiatus from 2016 to like 19, and then 19 when AEW came on, I hopped on that because like they automatically had the better product.
Mm-hmm.
But CM Punk is back, and he's on. I'm gonna have to watch that, bro. I don't know about you. I was a huge wrestling fan as a kid. still am now. I'm obviously not as big as I was back then, but like, yo,
Listen.
Punk is underrated. Like, he was one of the
No,
only
he
dudes
is.
challenging
He is.
Cena at a point where, and John Cena was a GOAT, but there was a
Yes.
point where Cena was just getting everything and anything, and everybody was annoyed with it, and he was the only person that legitimately challenged him, called
I
out the
agree.
McMahons and everybody, bro.
I agree.
And he's finally back after.
And
like,
it
what,
led,
10
and
years?
did it lead? It led to his firing. If I'm not mistaken, he got fired from WWE at one point because he
They were
was chirping him.
disrespectful. They fired
he
him on
was.
his wedding day.
Yeah,
was not
I
a
saw that.
mistake.
I saw that tweet. Well, listen, I was a fan when it was the WWF. I'm aging myself here. You know what I mean?
Nah, I hear
I
you.
mean the match that I've seen growing up was, Bret the Hitman Hart in the steel cage with his brother. You know what I mean? R.I.P. to Owen. And the Undertaker versus the Undertaker at SummerSlam. You know what I mean? Like, those are the
Two
matches
goats.
I remember. The Rock, the Stone Cold. Those are
That's all
my
goats.
eras. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All goats, bro. You
I'm
know
sure
what I mean?
you caught some of the ruthless aggression though. You know what I'm saying? The very beginning of when they became
No,
WWE.
and I seen the John Cena ruthless aggression thing. I saw very little bit of it, but I know CM Punk, I know John Cena, I know Roman Reigns, I know like pretty much all the good guys there because my kids start to watch this stuff nowadays, and they're like, Dad, look, all right, cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with that, I definitely pay attention to a little bit of it, but I want to see AEW because WWE is
AEW, bro. I've been telling because we were talking about Fisk as well before the stream. Fisk is my guy.
Shout out Fisk.
I've been
Shout out
trying to
Fisk.
put Fisk on AEW for a minute, and he is on it. The thing is, this is what he said, which I'm like, is low-key kind of a compliment. He says the reason he doesn't like AEW, and he doesn't like WWE either right now, but the reason he doesn't like AEW is because they give out too many good matches. I was like, how is that a problem? He's like, because you need some bad matches. I could kind of see where he's coming from. He's like, you need some bad matches in between so that the pay-per-views actually are a step above the regular
I
shows.
respect. That's smart. No, he's
And I was
absolutely
like,
right
you know
on
what?
that.
You got
that
a
makes
point.
sense.
I was like,
That makes huge sense.
It makes sense for pacing and for like how good you want the show to be.
Yeah.
But then I'm just
Yeah.
like, doesn't that tell you how good the product is on a weekly basis though? If they're
That
putting
I
out
agree
too many
with.
good
That
matches?
I agree with that. It just
Yeah.
shows you how good the product is. I agree.
No,
with
I
that.
agree with him though. He was like, they need to throw in a couple squash matches in there, bro. I'm not trying to see a classic every 5 seconds, which I'm like,
Yeah.
is both a legitimate critique and a compliment at the same time.
I agree. But you know what? I'm gonna watch AEW now. Now you put me on. I'm gonna watch that. Give it a try, for sure.
You don't even have
But
to
nah.
start. Listen, I'm gonna recommend one match they did from 2 years ago that got me hooked on them. It was it was like a hardcore match between Kenny Omega, who is a lot of WWE people don't know him, but over the past 10 years he's been like the best wrestler in the world. It's just that he was over in Japan, because let's be honest, the best wrestling in the world wasn't taking place in the U.S. for this past like decade. It was over in Japan. It was like overseas. You know what I'm saying? Kenny Omega he's from that. AEW got him, and that's really what put them on the map, right? So watch the match between Kenny Omega and I think it's Hangman Page. Like it was like a hardcore match, and it got me hooked because these dudes jumped into a bed of steel wire, barbed wire. They
got it like that.
They took the ring apart and was smashing each other's head on the wood of the ring. They got glass and was shoving it down each other's throat, bro. They were legitimately like hard. Like we haven't seen that since the 90s. You know what I mean?
Since
And
the
I was
Attitude
like, that
Era.
got me hooked. That actually got me
Yeah.
hooked. That's legit. That's like some legit stuff right there. You know
Nah,
what
I
mean?
want to see that. Nah, I haven't seen that type of wrestling since the Attitude Era. That's what made me fall off with wrestling. Because I was like, Attitude Era's gone. They want some more kids. And nah, I like when it was the Attitude Era. Like,
I'm gonna see
things
if I
were
can actually
breaking,
link you
cuts,
to
blood.
the fight like after the stream.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see if I
please
can get
do,
you
man.
over
You know where to send it.
Yeah, but getting
For
back.
sure. But get it back. I'm sorry,
back to
guys.
the
Yeah, I'm
receivers.
sorry. I'm
Well,
sorry.
we
guys.
covered Shep and Slayton. Who else has been standing out for you? And who else has been standing out for you? If anybody.
Let me see.
Not necessarily at the Browns, Giants, but Sills has been standing out overall.
Oh man, you know what? I love Sills during the preseason. I like Sills during a little bit of the training camp as well. But as far as now, reports to tell you that he's had a bad go at it, man. He hasn't got any good separation. He hasn't been consistent, or at least continuing from the preseason. He hasn't done that since his Brown practice. They've been locking him down, and I'm a big David
Oh, you're
Sills
talking
fan.
about in these 2 past days then?
Right. He hasn't had a good go at it, but I know in the past it's been up and down, and I think we spoke about it with Diggy. Shout out Diggy. That he was good one day, and then he had a bad day the next day. The next minute the preseason came, and Sills Army, here it came. You know what I mean? But now they said, man, he's just hasn't been consistent enough, at least continuing the success into the Browns training camp. But I'm hoping he's that type of guy when the cameras are on, he can continue that. But I really hope, man, he makes this roster, because shout out to Brandon London as well. He brought another good point up. He said David Sills is going to be that Galladay type guy that give you those 50-50 type balls and come down with it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, it's funny that you said that. You know what I mean? So as far as Galladay being out on certain plays, David Sills can come in and take over a little bit of those plays that you're looking for if Galladay has to come out in certain packages. Because I was like, I don't know if he's going to make it, because he's not a special teams guy. You know what I mean? But he said, no, David Sills is going to be that Galladay type of guy that you're going to need if Galladay is out, or if the injuries creep up on him, you have a go-to guy. And I was like, man, I didn't really think of that. But with all of that being explained, I know he's having a rough go at it right now, and he's going to see elite players, especially if, something happens to Galladay. He's got to be that guy to step in on certain packages to make these plays. Can he do it? That's yet to be determined. We got to see.
Mm-hmm. And then where do you see – well, first of all, how many wide receivers do you think we're rolling in with this season?
Yeah, probably five. But
I'd be more comfortable with 6 because we rolled in with 4 last year.
I say 5.
And
I don't mind 6, though.
Yeah.
Who would be your 6?
Well, I'm going to ask you who would be your 5th, actually. We know who the top 4 would be, so who's your 5th?
Ross, ain't it? No, Ross got to make this roster, per se?
Okay.
Yeah. I would say Ross got to make this roster. Sills, Ross, Kenny Galladay,
it's like, I don't know
Tony.
I don't know who my 5th and 6th would be, because I think Board has a legitimate chance. I love what Board gives us as special teams value. And I was there at FanFest, and he was like the best guy.
I love Board, bro.
And let's call spade a spade. In the first quarter, when the quote unquote starting offense was out there, Board was the guy they targeted the most in that first quarter. They went to him a lot. You know what I'm saying?
But think about it this way: the fact that he is a special teams type of guy, he just might make this roster. You know what I mean? I said this before, and I think you was on Diggy with me as well. Where I said that you said what would the shock be, I guess, or who you think won't make it. And I said Sills, even though he's that guy. And again, Brandon London gave me that particular aspect of it. Like, okay, maybe he could make the roster. I think he might have to show that in the stick, because C.J. Board is that Swiss Army knife Joe Judge looks for. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be mad at that either. You know what I mean? But 6 wide receivers, I can see that too. I'm going to be honest. I can see that.
Where does Dante Pettis land for you?
Dang, man. He's been having a good camp too.
He's been having a good camp.
He's been having a damn good camp.
And things last year too. You
want to know something crazy?
Yeah.
This second day in the Browns, that's all the names you heard is his. You know what I mean? So he's been having a great camp. It's just, can we put it together now during live action? And that's yet to be determined, too, to see if he could be that guy, because I think we need to see more.
I think with Pettis, he's the only one I could say I know he could do it in live action, because he was good in the games he played for us last year, which was like 2 or 3, so small sample size.
Right.
But we were calling his name on a lot of plays last year towards the end of the year when he came.
You know what? We were. You know what I mean? But I think there's so much, I won't say competition, but I think there's so many people that is just up to par with him. But I think now he's starting to figure out a way to separate himself, especially now in the second day when you can start to see his name on the reports a lot. But I would like to see a little bit more before I can say, all right, yeah, I'm really, really high on him. Let's say that. Let's say that.
Shout out to Herbert Elliott, Lord Commander Manny in here. Commander says, hello, everyone from Port St. Lucie. Is that international? Is that in the U.S.? I'm not sure, but what's up, man? How you doing?
What up?
And then Herbert says, what y'all think about Aziz? Oh, we could give you a quick rundown, but we covered that like way early on the pod. We're both big fans of Aziz, man. We're both big fans of him.
Huge.
We love what we're seeing, and we hope he could be that guy, basically.
And listen, guys, I said this before, and I said this in the past, because there's a lot of defensive rookie of the year. Don't put that label on him, because if he's not going to reach it, you guys are going to be like, oh, he's a bust, he's this and that, and jump to the extreme and jump off a bridge. You know what I mean?
So guys, I put the label on him unabashedly.
Yo, shout you said that. My fault. And then I was like, my fault.
I will say this. I'm level-headed, because I put it on Darnay Holmes last year as well. You don't see me calling him a bust. You see me saying he's going to be one of the best slot corners in the league this year.
Yes, you do.
I mean, listen, but I do legitimately think Aziz has a good shot. Honestly,
no,
who I think is going to get it, I think it's going to be a guy like J.C. Horn, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's the direct replacement to Bradbury in Carolina. Like, he's their only legit corner. He might get it. But no, Aziz, that's just how much I got faith.
Listen, I would love for him to be defensive rookie of the year. I would love for it. That's the goal. You know what I mean? But I just don't want to. I don't want to say jinx it, I guess. I just don't want no one to have that expectation of someone, and if he doesn't meet it, it's just like, he never met it. Because you know how some Giants fans can be.
Yeah.
Very 100%. Extreme. So
Bro,
I don't want that.
Yo, I literally made a video this year called, it's one of my series called We Need to Talk, and that episode's name was Darius Slayton and Expectations. And it was specifically because he had a good rookie year, and people put way too high expectations on him, which were unfair because he was never going to be, in my opinion, a number one. He was always going to be a really good number two, but that was the expectations placed on him, and people really collapsed on this guy, even though, once again, he had an identical year in terms of production.
Look, a good number two, not a great.
Yeah.
You know, I think he could be a good number two, and him and Shep can rotate that particular thing as far as, you know, the ones or certain packages. Shep will be the two. He'll sit out. Kadarius Toney to be a slot, whatever the case is. You know what I mean? But, again, I know his rookie season, the piggyback of what you're saying, a lot of people expected him to do something great, and he didn't meet that last season.
Purely because we were missing Odell. I feel like that's literally the only reason. They were like, "Oh, he's our immediate Odell replacement," but it's like, nah.
Listen, but like you comparing Odell to, come on, like you gotta. Sometimes people gotta step back before they talk a little bit, or think before they talk, because Odell is Odell. Let's not crap on Odell. I don't care if he's in a Cleveland uniform or not. Odell's Odell. You cannot replace that production with Darius Slayton.
It's literally the other night, like I think it was Tuesday or Monday. I was having the debate with this, and Authentic had to hop on. A shout out to Authentic because he's also one of the only dudes that like consistently defends Odell, because it's like people were actually saying in his first 4 years Odell wasn't great, which is like, nah. In his first 4 years, the only wide receiver you could compare him to was Jerry Rice in terms of production, bro.
That's a fact.
Like his first 4 years. He's not. I'm not gonna say he's still that guy, but in his first 4 years, he was the guy.
The guy.
NFL, you know what I'm saying?
Like this guy was top 5. They would say Hall of Fame at some point. Like Odell was very productive. Like I don't know what the heck people are talking about. Like Odell was that guy. Again, Giants fans, don't roast me, man. I know this is a Giants type of show, but it's either between him or Saquon, in my opinion, for comeback player of the year. I understand Dak is in there as well.
You're not throwing Dak in there?
I'll throw Dak in there as well. Yeah. But I really do strongly believe that Odell is going to come out there, and Saquon, man, is going to do something crazy out there. Shout out to Dak. I'm not sleeping on Dak. Don't get me wrong. But I just think out of those two, Saquon and Odell, I just think those guys, and I'm not being biased, I just think those guys are going to have comeback player of the year, in my opinion. I mean, Dak got it, not say easy. I mean, it's a passing league. You should get some sort of numbers. You know what I mean? But I just really think, man, that these guys are going to do some numbers, man. Odell's going to have a chip on the shoulder. You're going to see that same old Odell coming back, even though Jarvis is looking amazing out there.
I was going to say, I honestly think that it'd be better if they have Jarvis as their quote-unquote number one, because I think him and Baker also just have a better connection. That's just from what I'm seeing. Yeah. But no, Jarvis has really blossomed since he gone in Cleveland. But real quick, Bobby, thank you. It's in Florida. That's why I was like, I don't know if it's in the U.S. or international, man, but thank you for letting me know it's in Florida.
Yeah.
Evan, as of right now, no news on Aaron Robinson. There's literally only 2 of our 6 rookies that's been practicing consistently. It's Azeez and Rodarius. And speaking of Rodarius, we'll get to the secondary right now. But no new news on Harrison. And then Calvin, shout out to him, local Arizona fan in here, also a member. He says, tired of the media voicing their premature opinions during preseason. I mean, 100% I agree with you, man.
Preach to the choir. To the choir. Listen, a lot of people, they got to take this preseason as judge a position. I think you got to judge a position group. And I came into this preseason with the idea of O-line. Like, that was my main focus, was O-line. And that's all I looked at. And it wound up being like a QB2 because I wanted to see, all right, these guys
First of all,
aren't.
Clayton Thorson is like the worst quarterback I've ever seen play football. Thank God.
Listen, thank God he's gone. You know what I mean? But when I saw the O-line, I saw the quarterback, and I was like, listen, those are the positions I'm going to look for. Because you can't put too much stock into preseason. These are some of the vanilla calls, cover 2s, slant here or whatever here. You know what I mean? So it's so vanilla. Like, this is not the playbook. So it's hard for us to say that these guys are going to be great at this, that, and the third. You can just take a little bit of the formations maybe. You can take a little bit of the position group, see who can catch the ball. Let's see what the quarterback's looking at as far as the QB2. Who's your running back to? Those are the guys you look for, those backup. This preseason is for backup depth only, not starters, guys. So please do not get into preseason too much as far as like, oh, this team's a this or that and the third. You can't say that yet. You got to look at the depth and who can we keep. That's it. That's all preseason is. Don't put too much stock into it. That's all I can say. I had to vent. My fault.
No, it's all good. Getting to the cornerbacks, though, Bradbury seems to be continuing right where he left off. Another guy, in my opinion, that like Martinez is underrated, but unlike Martinez, he actually gets some recognition because it's become a lot easier for corners and wide receivers, no doubt, to get the recognition. It's a lot harder for linebackers, middle linebackers, to get the recognition they deserve these days. But
Right.
Bradbury, still underrated in my opinion. I mean, I think
agree.
the NFL disrespected him by having J.C. Jackson above him on the top 100 list. That makes no type of sense.
Totally
Bradbury
agree.
is arguably a top 5 corner in the league right now. I mean,
Totally agree.
it's-
Totally agree.
And he just looks like he's continuing right where he left off, at least with the Brown stuff.
And you know what? I'm glad you know what? He was doing this in Carolina. Let's be honest. It's just now he's in a media capital of the world, right? And now you get to see more of his play. But the fact that he's not getting the recognition to it, it's just like, man, what are we doing here? I understand that people hate the Giants or the media think the Giants is this poor of a team, but you got to look at the talent that's on there. He's on there. Bradbury is the top 5 corner in the league, in my opinion. Like, we got to give him his flowers. We got to give him his just due, you know, but who am I? You know, I'm just a fan like everybody else, I guess.
And then I think Adoree Jackson, at least today, also got a couple pass breakups in there.
Yeah.
And that's somebody I've been waiting to hear his name called ever since we signed him, at least in training camp. Not much, obviously. Once again, like you're saying, we got to take some stuff with a grain of salt here. But I was really glad to hear that he was doing something today against the Browns.
Same here, because I feel like I haven't heard enough of him. Let's say that. It felt like I haven't heard enough of him, especially if he's going to be the CB2. You know what I mean? So they're going to throw him out there being that guy, but I just haven't heard enough.
Quarterbacks are going to test him because I actually
Of
don't be
course.
surprised like if we go into a couple of games this year and they're like actively avoiding James, bro. That's going to happen.
Of course. And Adoree's going to have to step up. And I hope he's the guy to step up, especially when we did all that recruiting for him, especially as fans, especially as Logan Ryan. You know, so he's coming in pretty, you know, well qualified or whatever the case, the word I'm looking for. Forgive me, I can't think of it at the top. But he's coming in with high regards.
Yeah.
You know, so your expectations are pretty high there, Dory. And I want to hear his name more. And it just feels like I'm starting to hear it now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm hoping he can catch on and get a little more consistent when it comes to that CB2, because that has to be his spot to lose at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we'll see, man. But I'm excited about the secondary. Let's see what more they can do.
Exactly.
But go ahead, brother.
Speaking of Adoree, and you were saying, shout out to the fans, by the way. Giants
Shout
fans
out.
have been a nation, an army this year. We literally, in my opinion, single-handedly recruited Kenny Galladay, got that
Agreed.
man to go to the Giants, and he stayed
Hell
there
yeah.
for the entire, 4 days, bro. And then right after that, we had no cap space. We, not single-handedly, double-handedly, because Logan Ryan was also there, but recruited Adoree, right after. That was
That's a fact.
crazy, bro. That was
That's
a
a fact.
crazy week or two on Twitter, bro. That was all Giants fan. We got them trending on Twitter. We got
Yes, we
Kenny
did.
Galladay, or it was Kenny NYG trending, and we got Adoree to New York trending, bro. That was crazy.
That was nuts. And shout out to the fans, and shout out to Kevin Abrams for making that freaking cap space happen at that point. You know what I mean?
That man is involved in some black magic, bro. I don't know about
Yo, something happened because we were negative. We were the hole. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, the fans, man, that's the one time I actually seen all the fans get together in one tune and made something trend like that. I was like, man, the power of Twitter. But shout out to the fans, man. I feel like we definitely single-handedly brought those 2 players in. You know what I mean? For sure. Now they got to show up and show out at this
Yeah,
point. They
because,
have to.
oh, man, knock on wood, God forbid, because if they don't, what a collapse that would be. Jesus.
We all eating crow after that,
Exactly.
man. We're
Nobody
all
could
eating
say
crow.
they didn't want them on. Everybody's
Of course.
If you meet a Giants fan that has some type of online presence, say they didn't want them on there, they're lying, bro. Straight
They're
up.
lying. No, I'm just gonna block you. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like you lying, bro. Like, I'm just
nah,
gonna
bro,
block you.
You tell me we got this trending and you weren't involved. Stop the cap, bro.
Stop it, man. Stop it, please. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, absolutely, bro. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm excited to see what the secondary can do. I know we get off topic a little bit, but and this is what makes this show type of fun. I love shows like this. You can be ourselves and show our personality. But
I agree with you. That's something I said it earlier. Tangents are sometimes my favorite part.
Tangents are great. Yeah, tangents are great, man. We talk about wrestling. We talk about a bunch of stuff. Getting teeth knocked out.
Yeah.
And all that
Speaking
stuff.
of the Eagles, Bob
ahead.
Murphy in here. He says our game last night. What the hell, man? We played.
Hey, that was bad.
No, he says we didn't play hardly any starters. I was embarrassed. Wait, did they play starters or did they not? That sentence kind of confused me.
I thought
it?
I didn't watch the whole game, but I thought they played starters a test to Jalen Hurts because he had an illness. So I thought they were playing that first string for the first few.
Starting online or something, didn't they?
I think they did because Jalen Hurts was supposed to play. He just got sick.
Exactly.
So I think they were playing some starters in there. It's just They just didn't deliver, man. That was a sloppy game. Once I saw that game and I saw the house,
if I'm out here and I learned that y'all played your starting O-line, I'm not gonna let up on you, bro. Because Bobby, shout out to Philly Notion, a Philly YouTuber that I love to work at. He brings the energy, man. He's incredible. Big Play Slay. There's a couple of Eagles fans out here, man. If I found out that y'all played your starting O-lineman and you guys like were trash, I'm not letting up on you because these guys have been telling me they have the best O-line in the East when healthy. Explain that preseason game, bro. Explain that preseason game, then.
You wouldn't think Dallas still has the healthy, a better line than the Eagles? You still didn't, like in the East, let's say?
Okay, then. So Bobby clarified. He said there were no stars on the O-line, D-line, or corners. So then he meant the opposite, I'm guessing.
Oh, okay.
All right, bet.
All right, so
you're lucky you got on this one, bro.
Word.
You got.
But listen, but honestly, let's take that back a little bit. Who do you think is the best offensive line in NFC East? Who do you think has the best offensive line?
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think it's a team that nobody's thinking about. I think it's Washington. Dallas last year had a terrible O-line. I know a good amount of it had to do with injuries. But,
correct.
I'm taking injuries into account. I think that some players will not fully recover. And it's not the same O-line it was 4 or 5 years ago, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? You got a couple of young guys on there now. You know what I'm saying? Tyler Biadasz is looking to probably take over at center at some point, who's a guy I really wanted last year, by the way, for the Giants. I think that it's Washington because they've silently built a really good O-line. And it's not on the level of, once again, Dallas was in its heyday, but they've silently built a really good O-line. I think it's a solid O-line.
It's solid enough. It's solid enough. Yeah.
Right? And then you got Dallas, who's facing injuries. You obviously got us, who's a big question mark. The Eagles is a combination of injuries and age, which I've been trying to tell Bobby and the other Eagles fans. I'm like, yeah, so you guys had the best O-line, 2-3 years ago in 2019.
Right.
But everybody was healthy, and they were also 2-3 years younger. You got to take that into account as well. You know what I mean?
Now, let me throw another one in there. Let's get it back to the Giants and Eagles. Who has the better O-line? Giants or Eagles?
I'm going to keep it real. That's tougher than I think you'd want me to say.
Okay.
It is tougher than a lot of Giants fans would want me to say, because I'll say this. Jason Kelce went healthy, one of the best centers in the line. Brandon Burks went healthy, I can't remember if he's a guard or tackle, but one of the best at his position. They have Jordan Mailata. Jordan Mailata is not known as one of the best because he's very young, but he's literally basically a Mekhi Becton type player in the sense that they've picked up this man from rugby, which we were talking about earlier as well.
Yes.
His immense size, you know what I'm saying? He's 300 plus pounds. There's barely any dudes similar to Mekhi Becton that could actually manhandle him. So that alone is just a great thing to have on your line, you know what I mean? For us, if everything breaks right, I think we could have potentially one of the best lines in the East because the other thing you know about me, big Thomas and Pert fan, I mocked them both to us last year in 2020. I did 2 mock drafts where I was like, you already know Thomas was my favorite player in the draft. And then I did a mock draft where I was like, because the Isaiah Simmons hype was real, I was like, all right, I'll do one where I hype Isaiah Simmons, but I got to get this guy out of UConn, Matt Pert, if we don't get Andrew Thomas. Right?
Yes.
So both of them I got big faith in. I actually think Thomas still is the best tackle out of the 2020 draft. I agree with that.
I agree with that. And I think he's showing it. I think he's going
to show it this year. Thomas was the inspiration for the series I was talking about earlier called We Need to Talk. The very first episode is just straight up, We Need to Talk, Andrew Thomas. That's literally the title of it. All of it was breaking down how leading up until a month before the draft, so basically leading up from the end of the 2018, what am I saying? Is it? No, 2019? 2020. So at the end, the mid and end point of the 2019 regular season, all the way up to the NFL Draft Combine, Andrew Thomas was the consensus best tackle coming out of college football. You can't deny this. This is facts. Everybody was saying he's the best tackle. The only person right next to him was Jedrick Wills. And even then, Jedrick Wills was not a consensus number one. There was 1 or 2 people that say, hey, take a look at this guy because he probably has better technique. And even then, you'd find some people saying, no, Thomas has better technique. You know what I'm saying? He was really a consensus number one.
Thomas was all around a right tackle. I mean, a left tackle.
Yeah, the draft combine really brought out the other 3 dudes, basically. It really showcased Jedrick Wills. Mekhi Becton really came to be known because he was just known for his size, and then he showed to have good movement at that size. And then the guy that came out the most at the combine was Tristan Wirfs because he was super strong and super athletic. Then, you know what I'm saying, the regular season. And I think the draft literally went in order of how good those guys are. It went Thomas, Wills, Becton, Wirfs. And I think that is the order that they are. And you know what I'm saying?
I agree with
that.
that.
The season came, and it's like that Thomas had the worst rookie year out of all of them? Probably. I'm not going to deny that. I still think he's the best player. You got to take into account what happened. He played on one ankle
that too
the entire year. He played on one ankle the entire year. All right. He dealt with 3 different O-line coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Colombo, Joe Judge at one point was the O-line coach, and then Greg DiGuglielmo. All right.
Yes.
He played against some of the best, if not the best, pass rushers during his rookie year.
Yep.
And he played with a struggling quarterback and struggling offensive coordinator in his rookie year. People don't put that stuff into context, and he still improved with all of those factors in the second half.
I think in the second half, he wound up being a very strong point of that offensive line, if I'm not mistaken.
In the second half, he ended up being right
one
behind Nick Gates, if not, in fact, ahead of Nick Gates in terms of the best lineman on that line.
Yes.
All of that being said, Thomas still improved, and if you were to judge just on the second half, and of course it's a big if, he would have been the best O-lineman hands down. He dealt with so much and went through all of that and learned so much and grew so much as a player still in his rookie year. I think he still is the best player. Tristan Wirfs, let me talk about him real quick because a lot of people say automatically he's the best. No disrespect to him, he's a good tackle. But he's a right tackle, one, in my opinion.
Yes.
2, I mentioned Thomas playing with a struggling O-line, struggling offense, and struggling offense coordinator. Do you know how easy your job becomes when you have Tom Brady as your quarterback back there? We talk about how hard it became for the O-line after we switched from Eli to Daniel Jones because it's just a fact. You have somebody that's very experienced and very calm and knows how to control a pocket to a guy that essentially is the exact opposite of that. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Tristan had probably the best, well, I'll just say it, the best quarterback of all time behind him. You know what I'm saying? And he was playing on one of the best O-lines in the league, so you talk about chemistry right next to him with one of the best offenses in the league with what ended up being the best team in the league, Super Bowl champs.
Correct.
We talk about Jedrick Wills. He played on also one of the best O-lines in the league on one of the best teams in the league. You know what I'm saying? You talk about a really good situation that these guys are put into, and I'm not taking away from their actual playing ability because they're great players, but their jobs were made a lot more easier than Thomas. Thomas and Becton were put in the worst situations, and I think Thomas was worse just because of the ankle and the changing of coaches and whatnot. Becton is still an absolute monster. I mean, I was just giving him his flowers earlier, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yes,
but
you were.
The thing with Becton is that he still has a lot of technique to improve on. There's going to be a point where, guys at his size are eventually going to have to learn that technique. He can't just rely on the size anymore. But the biggest thing with Becton is that he can't stay healthy. He was knocked out like 2 or 3 times during the season. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was essentially the same injury that Thomas had, too. It was like the ankle, and it knocked him out just because he's how big he is. Thomas is also a big dude, but compared to Becton, it's a difference. But he still played through it. You know what I mean? Like, I really broke all of that down in the video. I'm just like, it shouldn't be – like, people shouldn't be giving up on him. And people shouldn't be blindly, like, crying these other dudes, in my opinion.
I agree. I totally agree. Andrew Thomas, man, I think could be that complete. When she came in, expectations, what I thought is exactly what I thought. He's a complete left tackle. He's a complete tackle, in my opinion. And for anyone to come in and say that he's not that guy, just give him a little bit of time. Give him the proper coaching. Give him a little bit more time of experience on that line. And, again, dealing with a struggling offense, 3 different, offensive line coaches. I think he did a damn good job. And when you look at him in camp and et cetera now, he is stepping up to the plate. He is that guy that what we thought he would be. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of is his supporting cast is going to be the same way. And the reason why I made the original comparison of who's going to be better, Philly or the New York Giants, to be, in my opinion, even though we don't know who's going to be on that offensive line, I'll give the edge slightly to the Giants as exactly what you were saying, Kush. You know what I mean? So, again, to get to that answer, let's get to your answer first before I continue. And I'm sure you already, made it with the points that you made. Philly or Giants? Who you got?
Oh, nah, you're going to be disappointed. Until I see this Giants line do what they need to do in the season, I'm going to go Philly. I am. That's as worried as you are. I don't mind that. Because, like, it's the same with how worried you are about Garrett is how worried I am on the line. Because the thing is, I got faith in 2 dudes. I got faith in Thomas and Gates. I love him, like I was saying earlier. I absolutely love him, but I need
by the way, he's having a hard time.
Yeah,
he's having a hard time.
I need to see him be consistent, and then the guard play. Will has shown great things. Lemieux's been injured. You know what I'm saying?
Where do you think Solder?
I see it.
If Pert ain't the guy, then where's Solder? You get what I'm saying?
Solder's got to be the backup, bro. He's got to be that swing tackle. You know what I'm saying? He's got to be that backup swing tackle.
So in that case, I mean, before I go into Solder, whatever the case is, I just really think, and with Lemieux and et cetera coming in, Hernandez is playing great. I just really think with Lemieux, Gates, Pert, and Andrew Thomas, I really, really firmly think these guys are going to get it together. Because in camp, when you start looking at it, when they're in there, they show a little bit of consistency besides Lemieux because he's hurt still, and they're taking baby steps with him. They show a little bit of a consistency on that line as far as blocking on certain plays, and it's a little more consistent than what we think as far as like Swiss cheese on first and second down. You know what I mean? But when you take those guys out the equation, because in day 2 they had somebody else off the bench. It was all third and second stringers, and they had a horrible day. You know what I mean? Andrew Thomas wasn't even in there. You know what I mean? But I just think with that starting 5, when I just named those, I really do think they'll be more consistent than Philly, in my opinion, because of the coaching that's there. Philly, man, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I know it's preseason, and it wasn't their starting tag, their line, but we had a little bit more of a consistent basis in our preseason than theirs when it came to their second strings as well.
And I just want to real quick just clap back to Bobby real quick, because he says even with all our injuries, the Eagles line was the 19th, the Giants was the last. Based on what? Are you doing they were 19th in sacks, the Giants were last in sacks, or are you saying they were 19th in run blocking rate? Like on what, bro?
Yeah, you gotta,
giving me an
break
overall
that down.
grade? Because if you're giving me an overall grade, I'm sorry, I'm not going to take it seriously. That means you're going to a third-party site that has their own grading system that I don't know about, like PFF or something.
Pro Football Focus. Yeah, you gotta tell me. Yeah, you gotta
so,
break
like,
that down.
If you
want
to do sacks, for example, the Eagles were actually the worst O-line in the league. They let up 65 sacks. You could say Carson Wentz ran into as many sacks as he wanted to, or like, you know, he just didn't move anywhere. But you still gave up 65 sacks, you know what I'm saying? The Giants, like, let's be fair, the Giants weren't much better. They gave up 50. But, like, what are you going with here, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You gotta break that down a little bit for me.
Yeah, you want to do sack percentage? Sure. The Eagles and Giants are right there at 1 and 2 as the worst. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
yeah. I'm about to say I don't think they were that great. I don't think it was as great as 19 or whatever. I don't know. You gotta break that down a little bit better for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we got into the line. What are you expecting from Lemieux? Because in my opinion, it hinges on Lemieux, and you know he's been out for the past couple of weeks. So,
listen, if healthy, I think he'll be okay. I don't think he's going to be a Chris Snee out there, or you know what I mean, or David Deal out there, you know, per se. But I think he's going to be good enough to get to get the protection and the time that Daniel Jones needs, in my opinion. You know, the running, them lanes will open up with him in there as well, I think, and him and Hernandez. I think that'll be more his bread and butter, them running plays than pass blocking. But I think he's going to do enough to make sure he earns that starting position. It's just a matter of if he's healthy 100%. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter if he can go out there and put these particular things together and follow what the offensive line coach gives him as far as like sliding protection or whatever the case is to help with stunts, because I think they're still struggling with stunts and etc. But we just haven't seen a huge package size of him because he's been hurt pretty much. Mm-hmm. So the jury is still out on him. I said jewelry. That's nuts. The jury is still out on him. You know what I mean? And it's just a wait and see. And I hate it. This is the part I hate. Is that we got to wait probably literally to like the third preseason game to see what he can do, in my opinion. So the jury's still out, but I think, and I'm very optimistic that he'll be okay at that right guard position to do something great for us. I think so.
Mm-hmm. And then, he's at left guard actually.
Is he left? I thought Hernandez was still at the right guard.
Hernandez is officially at the right guard, and Shane is at the left guard.
Left guard, forgive me. Yeah. Did I say left guard alright? I'm sorry. I meant to say it that way. Forgot me. So the right guard is Hernandez, left guard is Lemieux. Forgive me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think he'll be okay as far as helping out Thomas in that particular area. So, but again, it's to be determined. We shall see.
And we actually didn't finish off on the secondary. We literally just talked about Bradbury and Adoree'. Radarius seemed to be getting back to his stride as a camp standout today. You know, he was breaking up passes as well. How are the safeties doing, actually? I'm not sure I heard much on the safeties, but then again, that could be because they're not actually allowed to tackle, and that's like half of the safety's job. So
I've heard the safeties been getting picked apart. According to a few reports, a couple plays they got picked apart on. They've been getting picked on a lot. A lot of plays have been going through Jabril. A lot of plays have been going through Love. So they haven't been. McKinney as well. They just said that, you know what? They didn't say his name specifically, but I know they had Jabril in there a couple plays. That a couple of wide receivers scored some touchdowns, some tight ends, whatever the case is, but not to a degree of panic. Let's say that. Plays are going to happen. I'm not really worried about the scores are going to be made. It's just can they keep him out the end zone enough. That's what I want to see. And I think they've been doing that thus far in camp, at least from what I'm seeing. So I'm not really worried about it, but according to a few reports that just that particular department as far as safeties have been having some struggles as of late.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that. But that's all they're saying. But other than that, with that little bit of a report, it's been pretty consistent over there. I think they've been breaking up a lot of plays, etc. It's nothing really flashy, I guess, because they're not reporting it. They're more going on the cornerbacks and etc. that you see there on some of the reports out there for what I'm reading.
And then now, finally, basically the only position we haven't really – well, actually, no, I'm wrong. I was going to get to DJ, but there's two other ones on the offense that we didn't cover, which was running back and tight ends. So backup running back-wise, is Corey Clement still in the lead for the backup running back, or do you think Booker did some today?
In my opinion, Corey Clement.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to know something crazy? Brandon London was like, yo, we don't really have an RB2. Like, they might have to pick up someone on the waiver. And we was like, man, that's a hot take. And if anybody want to see that, just head over to Eli Racks.
How long ago was that?
You know, this was Tuesday. We had the show with him this Tuesday. And he said, we don't have an RB2, and we might have to pick up somebody on the waiver wire because he said we need a scat back. And what the only thing, and then I'll let he said in his opinion, but the only thing I say is we don't have a north and south guy. I think Saquon is that scat back that we're looking for. And Clement was more of a north-south guy, I thought, to me, especially looking at the preseason.
Booker is also kind of a north-south
I would
guy.
say Booker too. You know what I mean? I just like Clement more because he showed that poise of picking the lanes that he wanted.
No, I just like
and
Clement
he had
more
that
because
burst.
he ran with purpose.
Yeah, like he had that
did
burst.
Not run with any purpose.
No. I really think Clement is his job to lose.
There was like 3 plays where holes were there, and he just ran into the lineman instead of.
He just ran into the line. Exactly. Yeah. I think he was more sold on Booker than on Clement. But the thing is with Clement is, can he stay healthy? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because he has a past of injury history, or injury, whatever the hell, history of injury. You know, so can he stay healthy enough? And I really think the RB2 is his position to lose, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think he just showed great poise. He picked his lanes out, and he ran, like you said, with purpose. He had burst. You know what I mean? He knew exactly where his lanes were. And I don't know. I like Booker. Don't get me wrong. I like Booker. But there's a couple plays out there that he left, man. Mm-hmm. And I hope he comes back in this game and figures it out. Because right now it's Clement.
And this is the great thing with the backup running back position. They're going to have all preseason, in my opinion, to do. I don't think Saquon's saying anything. He's not going to play anything until week 1. So,
correct.
Booker, you got 2 more chances. I mean, maybe 1, honestly. You're going to have to come up and show out. Because I agree with you. For me, Clement right now is the RB2. And
I agree.
With us cutting, unfortunately, one of my favorite players, Alfred Morris this past week, man.
Morris.
Absolute legend. I say that half as a joke and half meaning. I love Alfred Morris. This man ran so slow that he created holes in the O-line to run through, bro.
For real.
So yeah, it's really down to them two. Because Brightwell, I don't think Brightwell is gonna make the roster. He's probably.
Hey, is that the guy from Australia, Brightwell? If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. Is he the one that
the rookie we took in the 6th round. Sandro
right,
Platzgummer is the guy from Austria.
What's his name again? Sandro
Platzgummer.
Because he wasn't even on my radar until I saw him rip one, and I was like, oh shoot, man, who the hell is this guy?
And I'm like, once again, it's like, you did a good job, but it's a give and take. It's like, that was a great run, but that was against like the 3rd, 4th team, you know.
Correct. So no, it's either, like you said, it's either Clement or Booker for that RB2, and we shall see from there. You know what I mean? But I'm a Clement guy. I'm gonna be honest. But shout out Brandon London. If you guys want to see that interview, I am Eli Racks on Twitter is on there, and he broke that down, man. And I was just like, man, it's weird. And it was funny. I wanted to bring that to your show because I wanted to get your opinion. And it sounds like you're definitely riding with what I'm saying.
I'm riding with what you're saying. I'm very surprised he's gonna say we might have to get somebody off the waiver wire.
Yeah, that's what he said. I was like, man, that's a hot take. Everybody was like, hot take.
I'm gonna keep that in mind while watching the game this Sunday, basically.
And you know what? He had me open my eyes to the RB2 more after that. And I was like, you know what? I gotta pay attention to that. Yeah. So you're right. It's all about paying attention to these last 2 preseason games to see if we got an RB2 legit. Let's see if Clement can keep it consistent.
Which guy is going to be on the waiver wire that we're going to pick up that's going to be a better RB2 for us?
Oh, man, he said some names, and off the rip, I can't remember the names he said. But for me, I really don't know who'll be able to fill that role that we're looking for, especially when he said scat back. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, there's really no one out there that I can think of. I know he said some names, but we have to wait to the waiver wire to see. what's out there.
Because
You
we
know
were
what I'm saying?
waiting on the
But
waiver wire for O-lineman, and we're still
for
waiting.
O-lineman, and we're going to
still
continue to
waiting.
wait, man.
Yeah.
And speaking of the O-line, we need more depth. I know
Yeah.
we covered that. We need more depth, but
we didn't
that's
cover
another
it.
thing.
But the reason I didn't bring it up is because I've talked it to death week in,
Yeah.
week out. I'm sure you have too. I feel we could leave it as I want to see where the starting online goes. Am I still worried about it? Yes, but I like what I'm seeing in terms of improvement.
Correct.
Beyond the starting O-line, it's ridiculous. It's actually trash. Our backups, I have no faith in. So yes, we need more depth. But I've been consistently saying there's nothing we could do but wait until guys get cut. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sucks. You know, and that sucks too. You know what I mean? Like, we really got to literally wait this long to see what we could feel as far as O-line. But again, I know we kind of dove into it a little bit. It's kind of like beating a dead horse. But boy, man, like I just don't know who's going to be out there for him. Hopefully, it's something
everybody
good.
wants Austin Ryder. What I've been saying is, it's looking like either Austin Ryder wants too much money or there's something else. Because we're not the only team that would sign him, bro. He's still out there. Like, there's a reason.
Exactly. So either one, he got an injury or something, or he's asking for too much money.
Yeah.
Or he just don't have it anymore, and it's okay. I don't want to bring in a guy that doesn't have it anymore and he retires and it's like, why is everybody retiring again? I don't want that. You know what I mean? So
I think it's the money thing, and it's I've had, you know what I'm saying, shout out, I love my viewers on the call-in show. A couple of them say, why not just cut a couple of guys to make space? I'm like, well, what if it's way too much? Like, you got to consider something, man. Like, he could be
and what if
a lot.
And what if Joe Judge says he's not a starter? Hey, you're going to have to be a backup. Maybe he doesn't want to be a backup.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he doesn't. There's a lot of variables in there that's just going to say, all right, it's –
bro, he probably doesn't want to come to the Giants. That's a variable that nobody likes to consider.
Exactly.
Every single
Maybe Joe Judge's system is different.
Yeah.
Joe, you know what I mean? Joe Judge got a whole different thing.
What was the guy's name? It was either this year or last year. The center from the Broncos, Connor McGovern, wanted him so bad. He went to the Jets. I'm like, it was very clear he didn't want to come with the Giants because he didn't even give us a meeting. Like, as soon as he hit free agency, he went to the Jets immediately.
Yep. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's good for the goose ain't good for the gander, tomato, whatever you want to say. You know what I mean? But it's not mutual. So you can't force that. And I don't want to force nobody in here that I don't want to be in here.
Yeah, if they don't want to be here, you're not going to get great production out of them.
Exactly. So, let's move on from that and let's see what the waiver wire has when it comes to this offensive line. I don't think it'll be much per se.
Yeah,
but we're going to have to do something.
I'm going to be honest. Bobby's going to love this. All right, our depth, I think, is going to be really bad this year when it comes to O-line. So that's why I'm really hoping that the starters are just going to be really good. You know what I'm saying?
I hope so. And injury-free.
And
injury-free.
And
because
to be
I'll tell
fair,
you, there's no
with
one.
our starters, they're not really injury guys. Like this, Shane Lemieux is his second year, right? But so is Andrew Thomas and all that. This is his first injury of his career. Andrew Thomas has been injury-free his entire college and NFL career. Matt Peart, the same thing. Will Hernandez, the same thing. Nick Gates, the same thing. So it's like it would be such the irony if this is a year where all of a sudden one of them has an injury during the season.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
But I tell you this, like you said, there's just not enough depth on there if, God forbid, something does happen to these guys. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, we shall see, man. But I don't know what's going to be in the waiver wire to fix this. I'm really thinking draft, and I'm really thinking free agency. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that. I'm like, I'm already looking towards next year.
Because we're about to get into the second to last position, tight end, and then QB. Or we can take Evan Ingram, package him with Mardre Harper and a 7th-round pick, and send him to the Bills for one of their O-linemen.
I don't mind that.
You know
I don't mind that. I don't mind
that.
And I think that's what they're waiting for.
Listen, and we didn't even get into the trades, which is fine. Because just give me your very, very quick thoughts on the Keon Crossing trade where we sent a 6th-round pick for him to the Texans, and then we just swapped Yadam and Josh Jackson. Real quick about those two.
Let's do Josh Jackson and Yadam. Special teams guy, Josh Jackson. Yadam was actually a guy that's going to be on the field. But Josh Jackson is more of a special team guy. But I think Joe Judge, the fact that he has the history with Pat and et cetera, I think he's going to be one of those guys that come in and try to contribute on the cornerback level. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So we shall see from there. The other gentleman is just a special teams gunner that we're going to need. And Joe Judge actually has, I think, a history with him as well. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong.
So Judge has a history with Keon. Pat has the history with Josh.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think Pat knows, what kind of player he's getting with Josh.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be a little bit more than a special teams guy. He's going to actually contribute just as Yadam. His stats and et cetera doesn't dictate his play, I think. I mean, I didn't really break down too much film on him, but all I know is when I did some sort of reports is that he was getting torched out there. Josh Jackson on the first game when he went out there, he was getting torched. So I'm gonna be, I'm optimistic, but I would like to see what Pat Graham could do with him as far as bringing out his talents a little bit more. But like I said, just a special teams guy, to be honest.
So shout out to Jasmine in here as well as Joseph. Joseph says my favorite T-shirt. Joseph, do you have it then? Like, if it's your favorite, did you
go get it?
One?
Go
I'm
get
just
it,
saying, man. This or the Leo one, brand new.
Facts.
Or the Young Joker one, brand new as well.
Facts. Go get it.
But back to that. So I really didn't like either of these trades. I'm be honest with you. I don't like the fact that we gave up a 6th-round pick for a guy that's going to be a special teamer in Keon Crossan. And the reason I brought up these 2 trades I'm getting to a second in regards to trading for an O-lineman is because I really hope we package one of these dudes for an O-lineman, because I honestly think, and it's still way too early, we'll see like a year from now if they're still on the team because they both are on expiring contracts. I honestly think they're both bad trades, but the Keon Crossan one more especially. I don't know why in the world you would ever give up any pick for a special teamer. That's just me, because our picks in the late rounds have been hitting, all right? 6th round, that's Cam Brown last year, and that's, guess who, Rodarius Williams this year, who's been shown on again.
Yeah, and you know what though, maybe he's gonna be a little bit more it's gonna be more of a role, because in some cases you just don't trade picks away for a special teamer. I just think, in my opinion, that he will be, and I'm gonna be like, that's why I don't even I know his name, but I'm just like, it's like you say, it's not really like what the hell we do that for? To me, it's like, what the hell we do that for? You know what I mean? But I think he's gonna contribute a little bit more to that particular defense.
Real quick,
so we'll see. I don't know.
Because Sirach has been a guy that's been watching my channel for a while, but I got to disagree with you here. He says if Pat Graham can revive Blake Martinez's career, he could revive Josh Jackson's. He didn't revive Blake Martinez.
He didn't revive Blake Martinez.
We were talking about this earlier.
Stop.
Blake has been that guy.
He's been a beast, bro. He's been a beast.
He led the league in tackling in 2017. He was 2nd the very next year, and I think he was top 5 in 2019. He came to us, he was top 5. This is what we were saying earlier. Blake is just going to be forever a guy that's under the radar. That's a perfect example for that. I'm not putting you on the spot or anything, Sirach, but that's just a false statement. He did not revive.
Shout out Sirach, but he didn't revive that. My
Blake
brother.
has always been that guy. We were literally talking about that earlier. He's just consistently going to be a guy that just is underrated.
I think a lot of people, again, it's just the market. Yeah. You know what I mean? New York market is a little bit more louder, brighter. So you're hearing Blake Martinez's name more, you know what I mean? But he did not revive him at all, man. Nah, let's not do that. Let's not give
Blake
my man
literally
Blake
continued what he's been doing. That's it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Shout out to Levance in here as well. But I'll say this, getting to the Josh Jackson trade now, I think Josh Jackson and Isaac Yiadom are literally the same level of corner. They're not the same corner, but they're the same level of corner. So the swap, I ain't got it. We didn't give up anything basically, which I'm not angry at. But I'm just confused because
let me say this.
Isaac Yiadom, I think last year is better than what Josh Jackson was last year.
I agree. I was just about to say that. I was about to say, didn't you think Yiadom is just a tick better or a couple ticks better than Josh Jackson? So it was definitely mind-boggling to see what happened.
The only thing that comes to mind is that they're just Josh has more potential or something like that, because he's, their careers are the exact opposite. Josh had the incredible start with 10 passes defended and starting all 16 games in his rookie year in 2018, and then he's declined since. Isaac hasn't done anything for his first 2 years, and he came to us in his 3rd year, and he had Isaac gets too much hate. He had a relatively good year. He improved as the season went on. They've had kind of opposite career trajectories, so the only thing I could see is that either A, I really hope we package these guys in a trade to get O-linemen, because we were already stacked at the secondary, and it was honestly a move that I didn't like, especially the 6th-round pick being given up. Or B, they just view Josh Jackson as having that much more potential. But it's all right, bro, how much more potential do you think he has? He's not going to be starting over Adoree. You know what I'm saying?
They're both the same age, too.
Anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both the same age, Yiadom and Jackson. They're both the same age. Both have a high ceiling. I agree with you. I didn't see that. I thought Yiadom was just a tad bit better. A couple ticks, not too crazy, because they do have the same as far as, skill set in some sort of way. But I agree with you, man. I just thought, it's a swap, and there was one that was a tad bit better. But I don't know. But again, I'm just a fan. Maybe, we're just fans at the end of the day. But I hope we're wrong on this.
Making a trade, because we were saying it's going to be so annoying and slow to wait for guys to get cut. Why not see if there's anybody on the trading block?
Well, at this particular point, do you think they'll trade for the O-lineman? Maybe not.
I wouldn't mind trade, for example, because I'll say this, because first of all, they need to abolish releasing one half of the trade on tweets, all right? Because we were all waiting for an hour to see what the compensation for Yiadom was.
Correct.
My mind immediately went to a guy in Jake Hansen out of Oregon. He was a rookie last year. So same college as Lemieux, and he was another guy I wanted last year on this team, and we took Shane Lemieux instead, which I never had a problem with because I was like, because I watched so much Jake Hansen tape, I was essentially seeing Shane Lemieux tape as well. He was on the Packers. He was a backup center on the Packers right now. I'm like, I wouldn't mind if we trade for him. He could play center and guard. Cole Van Lanen, a guy that plays all three positions. You know, the two interior and the exterior one as well on the line. Ricky this year took him in the 6th round, I believe. I was like, I don't mind if we trade for him either. You know what I'm saying? I was like, there's young guys that are backups that I think are viable to trade for. Obviously, no starters, but that's what I'm thinking.
That's I'm about to say now. Are you giving up picks? The fact that we already gave up a 6. You know what I mean? So you got to think.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's,
So I really do think we're just going into the season. If no one's on a waiver wire, I just really think we're going into the season with what we have. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think they're gonna trade, man. The fact that they gave up a 6 already, and we all know Dave Gettleman, right? He likes those picks. He likes to keep as much picks as he can, and I think he gave up the 6 knowing that he got another 1st-round pick at that point. You know what I mean? So I really think we're gonna go into the season the way we are, unless someone's on a waiver wire. I really do think, and I hate it, man. But I think it's just what it is. I think this is what it's gonna be.
I'm gonna get to 2 more comments before we finally get to Daniel Jones in the quarterback position. So first I get to Sirach and then Joseph. Sirach says, before I read it, I respectfully disagree. But he says, as a Packers fan, ask Packers fans what Blake did without Patrick Graham in 2019. They didn't care for him. His tackle numbers were there, but he wasn't impactful or a playmaker. I respectfully disagree. He was 100% impactful because of those tackle numbers. In fact, the reason I'm even so high on Blake on the first place, I even got his jersey in the back. I don't know about you vibes, but when we signed him last offseason, a lot of people didn't like the signing. I was like the only person on YouTube, at least, that I saw that was like legitimately on my videos cheering for the fact that we signed Blake Martinez, and I love the signing. You know why? Because I saw what he was. I saw that this dude is a tackling machine. I saw that he has potential to be, at the very best average in the passing game, but that's good enough. I was like, this guy is going to be our best middle linebacker in like 10 years. He's super underrated. And nobody else was seeing that. And that's kind of related to what Sirach is. Bro, you the dude, Sirach. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of related to what you're saying. He was impactful in Green Bay. He was legitimately their only run stuffing guy and tackler. Because the Smith brothers are on the edge. They didn't have an inside line. Blake was the cleanup guy. That's why people say he wasn't impactful, because he was the cleanup guy. That's all he was able to do. You know what I'm saying? That's the position he was in.
And it's funny you said that too, because I just got finished saying this earlier, that he's just not that flashy type of guy. This is why we said he's going to be that guy that's just that guy. Like, he's just going to be on that particular level to where he's just not appreciated, but he's going to give you that same production. We just got finished saying that. I don't know if he missed that first, hour of the show, but we just got finished. Blake Martinez is going to be that solid guy for you, and he's solid. He was solid in Green Bay, and he's doing the same exact thing he did in Green Bay and here as well, being that solid guy. But he's just going to be in the middle of the pack because he's not that flashy. He's not going to catch a ball with one hand, or he's not going to, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of people mistake that production, that he's not as flashy and that he's not doing enough. You know what I mean? But he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. And a lot of people are missing that. Go turn on I challenge you to go on and turn on a Blake Martinez highlight on YouTube. Go YouTube it. And I bet you'll have a change of heart by the time that video was done.
And the next 2 comments from Sirach, I agree with one and I disagree with one. He says Patrick Graham can bring out the best of players. 100%.
Of course.
No question.
Of course.
The one I disagree with is where he says Josh Jackson hasn't been the same since Patrick Graham left. Patrick Graham was not the defensive coordinator in Green Bay. He was the linebackers coach. Josh Jackson's production and play declining has nothing to do with Patrick Graham, because he was not the defensive coordinator. He was the linebackers coach. That's why we could say what we say about Blake. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just put that out there. Josh Jackson and his performance got nothing to do with Patrick Graham. Even his great performance in his rookie year. Nope. Graham was working on the linebackers. He wasn't a defensive consultant or anything. He was strictly working with the linebackers. So I'll say that.
I agree.
And then getting to Joseph Balby's question now, he says, "Are you concerned with the fights that we are having within the team, with the Browns? Is it a problem, or are we chill?" I'm gonna let you go first.
I'm chill. This is football, man. You know what I mean? Fights are gonna happen. People are gonna get chippy. It's a competitive sport. It's a competitive sport with men. Testosterone is high. Everybody want to make a roster. Fights are gonna happen. In fact, I kind of like it, and I hate to say it that way, but it just shows me that these guys are willing to do the same thing that the thing that says on their chest is fight. You know what I mean? So you never heard the Giants fight like this. You never heard like they really want their names to be known out there.
Mm-hmm.
And what this fighting has shown me from the Giants is that they hear all of the bashing and etc. they get from the media and the respect that they don't get throughout the league. You could tell they're ready to defend it this season.
Yep.
This is going to be a great freaking season. I'm telling you, I'm not concerned about this at all. In fact, I'm excited. And shout out to Michael Irvin, because you can see the passion when he even spoke about it as an old NFL player. When fighting was if you didn't fight, the team was trash back then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he was even excited about it. So you got to be excited of what you're seeing. The Giants are fighting, man. They want to be respected throughout this league because they hear it. So I'm not concerned at all, man. Bring it on. Keep fighting out there. Bring it on.
I'm right there with you. I can't even add anything. 100% there with you. I guess the only thing I will add was the first thing that came to mind when the training camp brawl happened, and I said in my reaction video was I like this because of the fact that it shows brotherhood. Like, it was literally offense versus defense. The offensive guys picked up for Evan Ingram, and then the defensive guys picked up for, I think it was McKinney. So I was like,
Correct.
Yeah, I like it. You know what I'm saying?
And even Daniel Jones at the bottom of the pile. I gave him a lot more respect now, and I know he's jumping in there and fighting with his brothers too. I like that. You know what I mean? So just anytime I'm giving it a game, he don't care if he's the quarterback or not. He's going to fight for his brothers. You guys got to be excited of what you're seeing. This team's going to fight, man. Win, lose, or draw. There's this team is going to fight, and it showed last year. They're just continuing it now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then now finally, getting to Daniel Jones, all right? And also getting back a little towards these biased Cleveland reporters and the guys that had run the live stream. They were out here treating Baker Mayfield as if he was Tom Brady or Joe Montana with every single completion he made. You know what I'm saying? And props to Baker, for example. One time in the red zone, he went like with 9 for 9. He was straight carving us, cutting us up. Mm-hmm. So props to Baker. But they were upplaying this man and downplaying Daniel so much, bro.
Yo, shout out to Zach Rosenblatt, man. You guys got to go to NJ.com and read some of his stuff, and Art Stapleton as well. Like, these guys, they call it how they see it. They don't do clickbait. They don't do anything like that. So I read their articles a tad bit more versus other people. You know what I mean? But Zach tells you Daniel Jones is having a good camp. It's just been silent. There's a couple drills in there, like red zone drills that he's struggling with that he'll say. But for the most part, Daniel Jones is having a good camp, man. Like, I don't think you guys should push the panic button on him just yet, or whatever the case is, because he's having a solid one, man. So shout out to Zach that actually brings that up, because he, like I said, 75%, man. If you go on his page right now and see that article, he's completing 75% of his passes. You know, so I'm excited to see Daniel Jones. I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of people crapping on him, especially.
And he cut up the Browns defense at one point too, wasn't he? With like
he
7
did
of 9 or 9 of 11 or something like that.
Yes. On 11 on 11 drills,
Yeah.
Absolutely he was. And again, his only struggle was red zone. Of course, it's a smaller field. Red zone is pretty tough to get in the red zone, right? So not too many teams were scoring that particular, not too many. But the field's a little bit shorter. Got to be a little bit more accurate when it comes to that. So I understand that he's struggling there. He's only going to get better. But when he's at that 50-yard line or whatever the case is, he's making these plays, guys. He's making these completions to push the ball towards the red zone. So, I'm excited to see what Daniel Jones have to offer this season. I'm wanting Daniel Jones trained, to be honest with you. But like I said, I'm excited to see what he's going from there. But all them other videos, as far as the fan fest, can we go back to that just a little bit?
Sure.
Of him throwing the interception to someone. He was already tackled on that play. If that was a live play, he already had a sack, and it looked like he just threw the ball away because the play was dead anyway. You know what I mean? So don't feed into all these fan fest videos and all this other media that's telling you Daniel Jones is. Go to Zach Rosenblatt, NJ.com, Art Stapleton. Call it how it sees. He gives you the good, bad, and the ugly. And Daniel Jones has been doing well. Let me say that. So shout out to Daniel Jones.
Zach has been putting out some good work out there. I'm not a particularly big fan of him because sometimes he really does, in my opinion, put out the worst for people to see. Cause one big example of that is I think was it right before the practice, right before we went down to the Browns. So I think that was Tuesday or Wednesday, one out of those 2 days, right before we went down to the Browns, right? Basically all the beat reporters, including Art actually, were just saying how bad of a day the Giants offense had, and then out of nowhere, Paul Dottino, shout out to Paul Dottino, was the only person reporting. The Giants had a great offensive day. In 11-11 drills, the offense dominated. Daniel Jones was like 100%, and I was like, why isn't anybody else saying this. So I'll throw in that name as well. Art Stapleton, Paul Latino, Paul Schwartz occasionally, and
Mm-hmm.
Zach. But I mean, the only reason there's so few is the Giants' B has been some hot trash for the most part for like the
Correct.
past year, in my opinion.
Like Jordan Rannon, shout out. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but I just think that's more of a. He gives you more of the downside than the good.
Hmm.
So the reason why I say Zach and Art Stapleton and shout out Paulie Dots too, you know what I mean, and Paul Schwartz, they give you the good, bad, and the ugly because they could have easily kept that same momentum going of giving you the bad,
Hmm.
but they shout out, like I said, shout out Zach. He gave you the good side of it. You know, like hey, they had a good day today. This was it today. So does Art Stapleton. Like if a fan asks something in his comments, you'll see him retweet it. Oh no, this happened.
Hmm.
You know, so and so reported this. No, this is what I saw. This is what happened. This is what I reported.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's why I said, hey, I give them a lot of credit by doing that. Like I said, I look at their articles a little bit more than anyone else's because I think they're being a little bit more truthful and not going for the clickbait per se.
Yeah, Art's like the GOAT reporter too. Like, but like he's a
Oh
pretty
yeah.
cool dude. We got to meet him at FanFest as well. He was trying to sneak by us as if we didn't know what Art Stapleton looked like in a plain old yellow shirt. Like
Hell
Pest
yeah.
turned around. He's like, "Yo, you're Art Stapleton, bro. You're not sneaking by us like that." Like, he was like real quietly going behind
Shout
us.
out Art.
Yeah, no, Art's a
Shout
pretty
out
cool
Art.
dude. But yeah, no, and
Yeah.
chat is preaching right now. I agree with everything they're saying, bro. We gotta have that mentality to win. King Tony's agreeing with everything about the fights. Even Bobby, he's like he likes the fighting. It shows that people, that they care, that they give something to it. You know what I mean? So I'm all right there with you guys. And then PJ asked, "Are we concerned with missing time from Tony? Because he has more, but we already spoke on Gali and Rudolph, so Tony. So I'll go first. Not really. And the reason I say not really is because I think even if he was completely healthy, honestly, I think Kadarius would have been our fourth wide receiver and a special teams ace this year. Kadarius Toney, in my opinion, was always going to be a pick for the future, not necessarily a pick for his rookie year. I think he was always going to be a pick that's like starts hitting his stride in his second and third year. And that's not to say that he can't hit his stride his rookie year. Because if you put him, for example, on Jacksonville, who wanted him, what I'm saying, Urban Meyer came out and said they really want to pick him at 25. If he's on any other team that doesn't have the current depth that the Giants have at the wide receiver position, he's going out there and putting up great numbers for his rookie year. He's going out there giving you like 700 yards or something, in my opinion. But it's just that he's in a position where it's like there's legitimately three dudes ahead of him on the roster. So he's going to be playing like limited, not limited, but he's going to be playing rotational snaps and special teams his first year. So for the Giants, he was always going to be a future pick, even if he was fully healthy. But I do got to add on because there's a lot of Kadarius Toney slander out there. Would he be on any other team? You're talking about this guy as one of the best wide receiver picks, as you should be.
I'll say this, and I agree with everything that you're saying. For me, and for me, and that shows the rest of the guys at the Rush, also said that he's going to be a package guy. I didn't expect him to come in here and take over Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. I didn't expect that. I expect him to come in on certain packages, maybe third down, slot guy, get you, a first down, maybe a touchdown, special teams. That's all Kadarius Toney came in to do. And again, like you said, is a future pick. So I think him missing time, it doesn't really concern me because I think he was only slated to be in there for a couple plays anyway. But I do want him out there. I hope that whatever injury that he has, that he hopefully it works itself out by preseason 3, because he is falling behind according to some reports.
According to reports, it's not even an injury; it's just that he's still dealing with COVID.
Oh,
which we've seen
that's
last
brutal.
year.
Yeah,
Myles Garrett
it's
didn't look the
devastating.
same until like 2 weeks after he returned. Myles Garrett looked completely different. Of course, Will did not look the same for the rest of the season after he came back. Like, it affects different players in different ways, is what it's looking like.
I totally agree, and and it could, and if it's that, if it is COVID or whatever the case is, then yeah, that's devastating enough. You know what I mean? But is he falling behind? According to a few reports, yes, he is. But at the same time, in token, he's only going to be in there for a couple package plays anyway, special teams, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He's a future pick. I think you'll start to see him a little bit more in year 2, year 3. But I'm not concerned at all with Kadarius Toney. I think he's going to ball out when he gets the chance to get on that field.
Exactly. Hey, Marjorie, thank you. She says she's loving the stream. I appreciate it. I see King Tony with a big comment. I'm going to get to it in a second, but I got to defend, and literally as soon as I say I got to defend Tony real quick, I was just going to go off on a tangent on it. Bobby comes in and gives me now a legit reason to defend Tony. He says if I was a Giants fan, I'd be worried over him. Nah, bro, listen. Because I even went on Twitter. I'm not sure if you saw it literally this week. Somebody was tweeting, "Oh, Kadarius Toney will forever be the worst wide receiver pick in the first round. You can't
Bugging
change
out.
my mind." I'm like, no,
You're
you're
bugging out.
And he listed the names of guys like, first of all, Diami Brown, who's a 4th-round wide receiver. I'm like, if you're a Washington fan, that's complete your fandom speaking. Diami Brown is not one of the best wide receivers in this class. Stop the cap.
No.
And Washington fans have really been treating it as if he's. I could get really into it. I'm not going to. He tweeted names like
that's another
Rondale
show.
Moore,
That's another show.
you know, Elijah Moore and stuff like that. And he was like, all these guys were better. I'm like, no, all right? And
No.
I even provided photographical evidence, bro. I was like, this is wrong. If we're going to try and talk specifically before the draft, Kadarius Toney was like the consensus number 4 or number 5 receiver. And guess what? He was the 4th
Correct.
receiver drafted. I posted
Correct.
5 different things. Walter Football, very trusted site. Basically, the sites I use when I do my draft research. Walter Football, ESPN Insider, the Draft Network, Pro Football Network. And I can't remember what the final one was. But I showed him all of these wide receiver rankings. Kadarius Toney 4, Kadarius Toney 5. The lowest one was like at 6, and even then the person that ranked him there was like, out of my entire team, I have him ranked the lowest, but that's just because I think he needs to polish up his route running. And he was like, if he polishes that up, you know, he jumps a couple spots. And it's like people are just building this false narrative of he was a reach when he wasn't. No, he was a
He
consensus.
wasn't even close.
He was a consensus.
He was
4th or 5th
projected,
receiver.
yeah.
Yeah, and
He was
got
he was
drafted as a
projected to
4th
go there.
receiver.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
And he still did damage on a team where Kyle Pitts was there. And Kyle Pitts is going to end up being one of the best receivers from this class at the tight end position. You know what
Agreed.
I'm saying?
Agreed. You know, I have nothing to add to that. You know what I mean? He was projected to go in those later rounds. You know what I mean? And he really fell into the rounds where they thought he was going to be in. It can't be the worst. Like, come on, stop. Just because he's not on the field and he's dealing with some things, guys, and he's been in the media, let's not crap on
And
the kid's
also,
talent.
people
The kid got
legitimately
talent, man.
hate the fact that he has a rap career for some reason. I don't see Dame getting this hate, bro. Shout out to Dame. His album dropped last night as well.
Shout out Dame.
That's the reason I made merch. Like, you know, when I come up with ideas in my head, I'm like, I really mess with Kadarius Toney's music. Like, it's great workout music too, and he's good.
It's great music.
He's
It's
good.
great music.
Can he
You know what,
improve?
though?
Yes, but he's good, and like he balances that in football well.
Yes, and you know, but a lot of people, and I said this before, and I'll say it again if anybody ever watched me, but I think a lot of people, you know, doesn't understand the culture. Like, it's his vocab, it's the way he speaks. I think a lot of people get turned off by that because he's a Florida kid. He's Southern. You know what I mean? So his vernacular is a little different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything's so quick and it's thick. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't understand the culture he came from. They just think, he looks like that. He got piercings and he's a troublemaker. No, it's just his culture, man. Like, it's just his thing. Let's leave that aside for a second and let's judge him by the play on his field, which he was hired to do. And he's a good character too. He came from a great upbringing, man. He just raps. You know what I mean? There's not one person in here that wish they freaking didn't write a record at one point. I'm sure somebody in there was like, I wrote a record. I wrote a little rap. Everybody want to rap. You know what I mean? But he's just good at it, and he wanted to do it. You know what I mean? So just let the kid play, man, before we start to whisk him off away somewhere. But listen, I'll tell you this. The minute he scores his first touchdown, all of this is null and void.
Yeah.
All of this is null and void with this, man. So I'm just tired of beating a dead horse with Kadarius Toney. I gave my 2 cents on it. Just let the kid play, man. Just let him come back and let him play.
Exactly. But guys, that's gonna be it for today. We went for basically 2.5 hours. It didn't feel like that, and I'd say a good amount of that was the tangents, which once again was probably the best parts of this. But hey, man. First off, shout out to everybody for tuning in. As always, the supporters, you guys are the greatest part of this channel. And shout out to Vibes for coming on, man. I appreciate it. He has a great thing going over there on his Twitter page and also on NewYorkGiantsRush.com. Guys, make sure you check him out. Any last thoughts, man?
No, listen, I thank you for having me, brother, and I appreciate you sharing your platform. And I'm looking forward to hopefully doing this again, man, for sure.
Hey, anytime you guys down to have me on yours as well, I'm already down, bro.
Oh, say less. Listen, I was already about to. We'll talk off the air about it, but for sure, bro, we gotta definitely make that happen.
That being said, guys, that's it for now.